morning. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. The Boston Celtics won the NBA Finals. Now moving on. Baseball. Orioles, Yankees. 3-game series gets underway tonight in the Bronx. Unfavorable pitching matchups for the Birds this week. They're going to go try to do the thing anyway, keep the streak going of consecutive series won within the division. That dates back to last April. The last division team to win a series against the Orioles actually was the New York Yankees. But it was very early in 2023. The Orioles will look to keep that going this week. Tonight it's Albert Suarez and Nestor Cortez is the pitching matchup. And
Cortez?
Is this the Suarez?
Yes. No, it's not a pit. It's Nestor Cortez.
Yeah, it's close. It's close to being something, and I appreciate the attempt. It's not quite there.
It's Suarez versus Cortez.
Suarez, as Drew likes to say, Cortez, which is basically how you would say it. So it really doesn't work. But I appreciate, again, I'm not mad at the effort. We've done worse.
This is what I have for today.
Speaking of which, Drew might be here tomorrow. So that'll get things going tonight, and there's nothing else to say other than go get them. That's it. That's all you can say. Go get them. Yankees will be without Anthony Rizzo. He heads the injured list. They're calling up something called Ben Rice, who, because I just said that, will probably hit 75 home runs. Ben Rice will apparently start at first base for the Yankees tonight, and God bless. Of course, they will get, it is confirmed that they will be getting Garrett Cole back tomorrow. So the old-fashioned Cade Povich versus Garrett Cole showdown. Third major league start against, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Hey, man, what are you going to do? It don't look great on paper. I don't think the betting odds are going to be in the favor of the Orioles this week, but go try to make it happen, man. That's all you can do. Just go try to make it happen.
Who are they in favor of? Tonight would be the closest? Actually, I don't know.
No, probably Thursday would be the closest. With Heal's been great, but Irvin's been good enough that I would assume that Thursday's the
Yankees
closest.
minus 150 tonight.
Yeah, that sounds right. Then I'm going to bet tomorrow would be more like Yankees closer to minus 200. Well, the only caveat is that it's Garrett Cole's first start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a restriction on him? Is he only allowed to go 4 innings, something like that? Yankees have actually had some bullpen issues this season. We talk a lot about the Orioles' bullpen issues, but I know the Yankees have had some bullpen trouble. So perhaps if there is a thought process that Garrett Cole can't go very deep into the game, then maybe that could be favorable. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not surprised that the Orioles are or the Yankees are minus 150 favorites tonight. I'm not surprised by that whatsoever. I say the Yankees have had bullpen troubles. Now I pull up.
Clay Holmes has been very good.
Yeah, well, he's really good.
Yeah.
And
Hamilton's been good.
What?
Hamilton, is that the guy's name?
I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I don't have that answer. And it's funny because after I said that, I went back to look. And, so I'm not – their troubles have been more recent. They went a week ago. They had the number 2 –
Hamilton's not been good.
A week ago at this time, they're the number 2 bullpen ERA in all of baseball at 3.06.
It's not bad.
In that span of a week, that number has ballooned up to 3.31. So this week, their bullpen has had troubles. The team, it's the number 4. The Orioles are tied for the 3rd best ERA in baseball in their bullpen, and yet we think the Orioles have bullpen problems.
Like how Jose Trevino is listed on their pitching roster.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had a quick appearance in there.
I did not. I was not aware that he had gotten into a game. The Yankees bullpen also has a 1.24 whip. The Yankees bullpen is fine. Let's just be straight about that. It's fine. So I'm going to guess that even if there is an innings restriction for Garrett Cole
Luke Weaver's
tomorrow,
been very good.
Good for Luke Weaver.
Yeah.
He can go F himself. Sorry, it's just the way that it goes. The Orioles are playing the Yankees this week. They can all go screw. Every single one of them. Coming up on the program today, we will preview Orioles-Yankees. Our buddy Gabe Lacques from USA Today We'll check in with us a little bit later on. Our friend Steve Johnson, former Orioles pitcher, get his thoughts on the 3 that are going this week for the Baltimore Orioles.
The big 3.
Yeah, the big 3. That's what they call it. It's might as well be Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, speaking of the Celtics. And Jorge Castillo, who covers baseball, but primarily the Yankees for ESPN, will check in with us a little bit later on, all to help us get ready for Orioles-Yankees starting tonight. One of the things I was doing, I do a regular hit with my friend Soren Petro on his show down in Kansas City. He does a very good radio segment spanning the globe where he goes to 3 different cities and has 3 different guests on and asks, 4 or 5 questions about the various teams, picking cities that seem to be relevant. I was on, for example, yesterday right after the guy from Boston, clearly talking about the NBA Finals. And the way that he phrased it was a fair question. The question was, how big is this series? And it's a completely fair question because in the immediacy, in the micro, it's massive because, it's the series that's happening. And it's Orioles-Yankees. We understand that this is more significant than if the Orioles were to be playing the Twins this week or the Athletics or whoever it might be. Macro, how significant is this series? Probably not as much as we're making it out to be. Macro, it's a series in June. Macro, whatever happens this week, we know the Orioles are a very good baseball team. This isn't something where we're worried that the start they've gotten off to is some sort of fluke and they're going to get exposed now that they face the big boys. They just won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies this weekend. They beat the Yankees 3 out of 4 already in a series.
Do you think that helps downplay this series, just like in the macro of things, the fact that they already took 3 of 4?
I don't think it helps downplay it. I think that, again, in the moment, this is massive. It's that just looking at it from a macro, from a 10,000-foot perspective, the reality is, even if it were to go wrong, the worst case scenario, Orioles get swept this week. They got swept with
Albert Suarez and
Cade Povich,
and
Cole Irvin. Now, in fairness, Cole Irvin is their number 3 starter at the moment. We do have to be reasonable about the conversation that we're having. Like, at the moment, Cole Irvin's their number 3 starter. But we'd be looking at it from that perspective. We'd also be looking at it and saying, hey, that sucks. But as we pointed out when they got swept by the Cardinals, teams do get swept sometimes. And for the season, they'd only be down 4-3 on the aggregate to the Yankees in the worst case scenario. It would sting. It would suck. It wouldn't feel good. But what would it matter? Not all that much. The one area that it might matter if it were to go wrong would be that all of a sudden you'd look up and the work that you had just done to get back into the mix in the AL East would have all come undone in the span of 3 days. The Orioles were 4.5 games back, like a week and a half ago?
That sounds right.
And because the Yankees, I guess we have to go back, about the weekend, because they had a tough series against the Dodgers and a tough series against the Red Sox, the Orioles were able to kind of sneak back in, and now you look up, and they're once again tied in the loss column and a game and a half back. If they were to get swept this week, that would feel icky, for lack of a better term. It wouldn't be pleasant to have given back that ground that you just made up when it looked like the Yankees were prepared to run away with the AL East. But then it goes back to the other conversations we've had. Does it really matter if you win the AL East or not? I'm not ready to say it doesn't, but we keep having these conversations. We were talking to Buck Showalter about it on Friday. I just don't know if it matters. It felt great a year ago because it was making a statement. But ultimately, does it matter? We have no clue. And I'm not prepared to say that one. I'm not prepared to declaratively say that last year proves that you don't want to win your division.
But the Rangers and D-backs help prove that, yeah.
It might not. It might not matter if you win your division or not. We don't have enough. We just don't have enough to pretend like that is enough data that it proves that it's harmful to win the division, we can't do that. We don't have enough data. There's still the risk by playing more games. They talk about this all the time in football. Like, it's that rest versus rust thing. You play another game, somebody might get hurt. There's still the risk. You have to play 2 to 3 games in a division or a wild card series. Somebody could get hurt. There's the risk that you happen to face the team that has 2 outstanding pitchers and they just blow you away in 2 games and all of a sudden your season's over. Like, those things still exist. So, yeah, it'd be a bummer if the Orioles were to get swept. But particularly considering who's starting some of these games, I can't be over dramatic about that either. It's significant because it's happening. It's significant because it's the top 2 teams in the AL East. It's the top 2 teams in the American League. Some people, including Gabe Lacques, believe it's the top 2 teams in all of baseball. I still think the talent of the Dodgers and the overall, like, I get that their record is a little bit disappointing, but I still think they're very much in that conversation. But a lot of people will tell you these are the best 2 teams in all of baseball. And, yeah, it's the center of the baseball universe. This is what people will be paying attention to this week that are hardcore baseball people. So in those ways, because it's what's right in front of us, it matters. It's massive. In the tangible ways of looking at it, the Orioles just won a statement series. The Orioles don't have to prove anything. We're past that. A year ago, these sort of esoteric things were more significant. And I did think that in a weird way, this weekend series was still that. Like, you still, as I pointed out in my column this week, some of these outside of the division, for as much as we've made about the Orioles and what they've done against division opponents, some of these marquee things they've done against teams outside of the division over the last year, they haven't gone well. It's weird, right? Because we all say the AL East is the best division in baseball. But yet, when they faced the Phillies and the Dodgers last summer, it didn't go well. They split the 2 series with the Astros. They went 3-3 against the Astros last year. They lost the first one, came back and won the second one, and then we all know what happened against the Rangers in the playoffs. Like, these big outside. Weirdly, the Orioles have been great in the division and not so great outside the division. So in some bizarro world, despite the fact that those games, again, tangibly mean less because you ain't competing with the Phillies, I actually thought this weekend series kind of meant more just because the track record had said they're really good in the division. They're not so great outside the division. So you check that, winning that series this weekend, check that box for me. Like, that was still sort of an esoteric, hey, I'd kind of like to see you do that because you're not so good in those areas and you haven't been so good in those areas. So that box checked. I don't know what box you would check by winning this series, which, by the way, isn't me saying I don't want them to. Hi, Glenn Clark. Go ahead and win it anyway. But I don't know what box, like what qualification could you possibly give this? It's their success in the division has not been unique to being at home. They've had success. Again, they haven't lost a series in the division since April of last year. Their success in the division has translated road and home. They're not going to win the World Series by winning this series, right? They're not going to stop the season and say, the Orioles are in first place now because they swept this series, so call it off. That's it.
Until we get the in-season tournament.
Right, the in-season, yeah, we'll make it. When are we getting Lakers Celtics, by the way? Did you get to the bottom of when the dates will be?
I'm hoping before the draft, so
how
like 10 days or so.
Draft next Thursday, right?
Next Thursday.
So are they doing aren't they doing the 2-night draft this year?
Are they?
Oh my God, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Just imagine who you are in your life if you openly chose to sit down and watch round 2. Like, that was the program.
It's at 4 p.m. on Friday.
What?
Yeah. So 8 o'clock, the first round starts at 8 o'clock on Thursday night, prime time. 4 o'clock.
That makes it even dumber. Like, there's no way that's right.
I mean, let's see. SI says so. NBA.com, I believe.
That's the dumbest thing I've
correct.
ever heard. Why?
Sorry, it's the NBA draft presented by State Farm.
Thank you. Yeah, let's make sure we get that right. They don't spend any money with us. Take that back. Although I do have my car insurance through them. I was recently at a festival. State Farm this summer is going to festivals and events and putting your face on a bobblehead doll.
Oh,
Like
sick.
they take a picture of you and then they have like these generic bobblehead dolls. So this guy, I'm walking by, I think it was at the 10 miler. I'm walking by and the guy from the State Farm tent is like, hey man, you want to get your bobblehead? And I was like, nah, I'm good, thank you. And then like he was kind of pushy, but like in a friendly way. And I was like, all right, dude, I'll come over. I'll get a bobblehead. So he takes my picture. He goes the whole rigmarole. And then he's ready to sell me, right? He's like, all right, so what are you interested in learning about more from State Farm? And I was like, not really anything, dude. Like, no offense. I'm good. He was like, well, I got to put something down in order to give you the – I don't know. My God, whatever. Like, just put something down. I don't care. And he was like – he's going through. He's like, actually, it says here you're already a customer. I'm like, oh, yeah, I am.
So he gave you your bobblehead.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
good.
good.
Okay, good.
But I don't think you have to be a customer in order to get the bobblehead. You just have to like
You just have to engage.
yes, somehow,
Yeah.
some way. It was funny though. I just didn't remember that I was a customer of State Farm. Anyway, the moral of the story being, I don't think this series actually matters as much as we feel like it matters today. And that's not me trying to dissuade you from being amped because we all need something to look forward to. I mean, that's the way it goes. Like, if this is the thing, if it being Orioles-Yankees week is what's gotten your juices flowing, I don't want to try to limit that. I just want to have an honest conversation about it. I don't want you to think that I'm saying like, hey, this is stupid. Don't care. Don't watch. It's not what I'm saying at all. I think there can be danger in us talking about something as if this is the ESPNification of or the Twitterification of our society is that
Xification.
everything, as my buddy Chad Duke says, goat or trash. Like this is either the greatest, most important series that's ever been played in the history of baseball, or it's irrelevant. Well, it's not that. It's a fun series. It's more exciting, I acknowledge, than if the Orioles were playing the Marlins this week. We all know that. Even if they were playing another good team, it's more exciting than if the Orioles were playing they play the Guardians, and the Guardians, by the way, are really good. But this is more exciting than that. We all recognize that. We are capable of saying those things. But how significant is it really? I am hard-pressed to tell you what about this series uniquely is extraordinarily important. To say, it's a statement that you want to, yeah, but again, you just won 3 out of 4 against them. Like, it doesn't mean you want to get swept. You'd rather not have that happen, or you'd rather not lose the series. It's nice to keep saying you're the hammer and they're the nail. Like, it's cool to remind people, but it definitely feels way more esoteric than it is legitimate. Like, this feels like we want to win this series because we want to win this series, which is no different than you want to win any other series. The only thing I can give you is that you don't want to get swept because you don't want to fall behind 4.5 games in the division in late June. Like, I will acknowledge that would be a tough feeling. But if you lose 2 out of 3, you're only 2.5 games back. I think, I'm not trying to move the goalposts. I just think from the tangible standpoint, the most important thing is you don't get swept. Anything you do beyond that, cake. Like, anything, you win the series, my God, you somehow sweep this series. Holy crap. And yes, a lot of the way I'm feeling is based on who the Orioles are pitching this week. If it was Corbin Burns, and Grayson Rodriguez going, Kyle Bradish wasn't hurt. Like if that was if your three lined up for this series were Burns, Rodriguez, Bradish, I would feel very differently about it. That would sting more. Losing the series that way, because then it starts to feel like a playoff preview, right?
Garrett Cole versus Corbin Burns.
It's all of that. But you lose a series when these are your pitchers. Bummer. But you can shake that off. Okay. Okay. That happens. And the Phillies threw Suarez and Wheeler this weekend and lost a series. They don't get to hide behind, well, these weren't our... Taijuan Walker's clearly not one of their guys, but two of the three of them are their top two starters this season. And they lost that series. The Orioles lose a series with these three guys on the mound. It wouldn't be the end of the world. And I know it sounds, some of you are listening right now like, dude, are you really trying to apologize already before the series? No, I'm not. I want them to go out and win it anyway. I hope they do. It would be awesome if they do. Frankly, this is the Orioles we're talking about. I believe they can. Because they have won a lot of Cole Irvin and Albert Suarez starts this season. One Cade Povich start, but there's only been two, so that's a 50% track record so far. If that's your number 5 starter, I guess, yeah, I'll go with that. It's pretty good. Just try not to overreact, that's all. I'm trying to have an adult conversation, and sometimes that nuance and that subtlety gets lost in the shuffle. Hey, Live Casino Rewards members have the opportunity to earn discounts on cash and credit purchases at the casino. Join the Live Casino Rewards Club online or in person at Live today. You can see complete details right now at livecasinohotel.com. And, of course, as always, the best place to watch all of the big events. The series this week, Game 5 between Edmonton and Florida. Always Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. All right, as we keep talking about, it is Orioles-Yankees for 3 getting underway tonight. Let's talk a little bit more about that big series, big matchup, center of the baseball universe. This man has these two teams 1-2 in his most recent MLB Power Rankings. He is our friend, USA Today MLB writer Gabe Lacques is back with us now here on GCR. Gabe, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are getting pretty interesting out there.
Yeah, fun week, right? Fun week. Gabe, I was just trying to have this conversation, and it's difficult because I do these things sometimes, and people are like, "Bro, what are you trying to do? Move the goalpost?" This is awesome. It's Orioles-Yankees. In midweek series, it's better than anything else you could ask for. But what does it really mean? This question was posed to me in a radio interview I did yesterday. How important actually is this series? And when I dive into that, I find myself saying, I don't know. It's cool. It's fun. But I don't know that it's all that important on June 18th or 20th. I don't know that it's the end of the world which way this series goes.
Yeah, to dust off an old chestnut, it kind of is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's two teams separated by a game and a half, and looking like what they're all doing is pretty sustainable. And it's going to kind of stack up that way in October. It certainly appears. And let's not forget that it's essentially a fight for another game in the standings because of the way the tiebreaker works. If you win the season series, you basically can coast to the, if you're a game up on the last day of the season, you can basically just, ignore that last game. And then that comes into play a lot these days. The Astros and Rangers finished, in a tie last year. The Astros won the division. It's
how much did it help? We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I believe it's 3-1 Orioles right now.
Yes.
In the season series. So you want to get to that 7th win among the 13 games, and it basically buys you another game in the standings, which is kind of geeky, but it's not to be discounted.
Well, and Gabe, to what you're saying, though, it feels like in that way, I would argue that it's more important to the Yankees than it is to the Orioles, right? Like, let's just, for what it's worth, worst case scenario, the Orioles get swept. Well, they're only down 4-3 in the aggregate on the season, right? And I'm not suggesting that they want to be in that spot, but, like, that's the worst case scenario. On the flip side, the Yankees lose this series at home. They're suddenly down 5-2 in the aggregate on the year and having blown a home series in the process. Like, and I keep saying, I'm not trying to say it means nothing to the Orioles or that they don't want to win it or anything like that, but it feels like to me it's a more important series for the Yankees, particularly when you see who they're starting, who their pitchers are versus who the Orioles pitchers are this week. It seems like it's more important for them than it would be for Baltimore.
And what fans tend to forget, too, is the only, not even disastrous, but the only really bad outcome is a sweep.
Right.
If you lose 2 out of 3, you only lose a game in the standings. It's the kind of thing. And then, from a more intangible perspective, maybe it lets you know a little something about what you might need coming up at the trade deadline. Again, not that you're going to base your full season and franchise evaluations on 3 games, but it's helpful to face a team that you're going to battle the division for and pretty highly likely face in a playoff series if things go the way, Mike Elias would like things to go. So it'll be interesting to say the least, but certainly nothing definitive.
So let me come back to that thought in 1 second. The one other thought I have is part of what makes this a difficult conversation to have is when we talk about the standings in the division and the division tiebreakers, things like that, is I do still feel like we are conflicted about whether or not a team benefits from winning the division anymore. Like,
right.
we're in this. I was just talking about this with Buck Showalter on Friday, and I don't want to pretend like last year is some overwhelming proof or that we have nearly enough data to make a definitive statement about this, but it definitely made it difficult to have the conversation about how important it is to win the division, which isn't me suggesting that the teams shouldn't try to win the division. It's just Gabe, am struggling with being able to portray or try to compel someone that it is incredibly important that a team win their division after what we saw a year ago.
Right, and it's the thing about that is I feel like, that was just year 2 of this expanded playoff thing. And I feel like we need about 10 years of outcomes to really kind of drill down into this. The bottom line is just, being a good team. And, the Rangers were a 90-win team last year. Again, tied with the Astros, both 90 and 72. And, and the 2 teams played a 7-game slug, knockdown, drag-out ALCS that by the thinnest of margins went to the Rangers. So it's it's not like the Rangers laid in wait necessarily. I think it was good for them to really to get a very gettable Tampa Bay team in the first round. A team that never is built very well for the playoffs
and lost all their pitchers.
Right, got their sea legs, and we saw what happened when they went into Baltimore, and suddenly a guy named Evan Carter, who's just a month into the big leagues, is just incredible. So yeah, it's I still side with winning the division. It helps to get hot with that first round and get your feet on the ground, but there's still just no guarantees you survive that or that you can overcome the pitching deficit in the division series because you burned a couple of aces to get by the wild card round.
He is Gabe Lacques, USA Today MLB writer. He's with us here on GCR. Gabe, what you alluded to, that this could be sort of a measurement about where you are and what you might still need to do before the deadline. To me, the bigger story about that is that the Orioles go into this series, this massive, series, having to start Albert Suarez, Cade Povich, and Cole Irvin, who has been very good this season, against Cortez, Cole, and Heel. And to me, that kind of makes a statement about where they are. And I get that it's complicated by the unknown of Kyle Bradish, but I think the unknown of Kyle Bradish isn't going away anytime soon. I think the answer has become that we know the Orioles need to be in the starting pitching market going towards the deadline. Do you feel the same way? And what would make sense to you if the Orioles are in the starting pitching market going towards the deadline?
Right. I mean, it's interesting. It's the eternal question, and it's always a terrible market, and the market is going to be even worse this summer just because there's
everybody's in the playoff race. Everyone in
it's
baseball is in a play. We're all trying to make trades with the White Sox. That's where we're at.
Right. Yes. Right now, Garrett Crochet would get the reincarnation of Ted Williams and Willie Mays, I would imagine, in their prime. And again, they tried last year. It was a very mid, as they say, market for trades. They got Jack Flaherty, and okay, that's fine. Ate some innings and whatnot. And as it turns out, the prize, so to speak, was Jordan Montgomery, who pitched great down the stretch and pitched great in the playoffs. But let's go back to July 30th. Was anybody really pounding the table for Jordan Montgomery? No, he was just kind of one of four guys that were on the block. And I say this because, despite Bradish's loss and, where that goes from here, which is really a bummer for Orioles fans, you're still able to trot out a Corbin Burns and a Grayson Rodriguez 1-2 in a short series, which is not a bad place to be at all. And then, beyond that, you got to figure out, who you like the most as your third. And sometimes you just, at least for the time being, you just got to say, yeah, Albert Suarez is going to go into, freaking Yankee Stadium and throw the ball as he has been. Maybe the wheels come off a bit, but maybe not. Just be who you are. Now, in terms of the deadline, I kind of nodded when they made the Burns trade, because it was like, okay, Joey Ortiz, and I can see Elias working, and they held on to Kobe Mayo, held on to Norby, held on to all those guys. All right, they got a taste of Joey Ortiz and then felt that was a worthwhile price. Okay, that dude has an 848 OPS,
right.
Yep. So it's and I not that I feel sorry for Mike Elias, because he's built a great organization and is in an enviable spot, but feel sorry for him from the standpoint of you have a good idea about these guys, but you just don't know the career arcs of so many of them. Connor Norby versus Kobe Mayo versus Colton Cowser versus Kjerstad versus, it's everybody freaks out on these small samples and kind of pounds the table. Oh, he wasn't very good. Oh, he didn't get a long enough look. You're trying to kind of evaluate in real time, and it's really tough. So I feel like this market lines up to where the Orioles would be. It doesn't make much sense for them to overpay for for this market, especially when the guys that they would be dangling, a lot is still unknown about them. And the fact remains that many of them could be really, really great players going forward.
There's no doubt about that. Gabe, I guess two thoughts. The first being, in a weird way, I wonder if the Orioles wouldn't be well-served to be more aggressive right now, because to your point, it feels like there's about 1 billion teams that don't know if they're going to be buyers or sellers, so maybe try to get ahead of it if you're going to deal for one of the White Sox pitchers. And with that in mind, you bring up Crochet. I wonder how you feel about Eric Fetty, because the cost will likely be astronomical for Crochet. And there's the flip side of it being you're trying to win a World Series this year, and there's definitely going to be an innings problem with Garrett Crochet. And I don't know if he's the guy that you can get and be confident that he's going to be the difference in you winning a World Series this year. Fetty has been excellent this year, but the track record obviously is very questionable, and figuring out exactly what Eric Fetty is and if this is real or if he's going to turn into a pumpkin at a lesser price. Do you feel like Eric Fetty is someone that could be genuinely helpful to a team that could try to win a World Series this year?
Oh, I think so. And as so many conversations do, they come back to Eric Fetty and Albert Suarez. who thought among us that we'd be saying this back in March, saying this in June? Sometimes guys go to Korea and they take a step back and they figure things out. That happened to Suarez going over to Asia. He and his brother both. Fetty, a really big. And this is the thing. Fetty would be potentially a really good Jack Flaherty-esque pickup.
No, then no. Then the answer's no, Gabe.
But from a cost perspective, he could certainly bring more to the table. And And I think, you kind of have to look at it too from, we need a starter, we need a reliever. Well, no, they need pitchers, and you're not asking, if you get an Eric Fedde, you're not asking him to pitch game 2 of the ALCS necessarily, but you need innings, you need coverage, you need 13 guys, 1 to 13, because we certainly saw pretty much all 13 pitch and be exposed to some degree in the DS last year, but 13 guys you really feel good about, and that might be a bit more of a price point that would be to Mike Elias's liking, and I think it's a really good point you bring up, because I think I think Orioles fans need to be prepared, and of course I say this and they'll do some blockbuster, but need to be prepared that there isn't going to be a magic bullet, there isn't going to be a Garrett Crochet coming necessarily, because there's only so many of those guys. There's so many teams, looking to get a guy like that, and the Orioles prospects are simply a lot better than than other teams. So great, you win the Garrett Crochet sweepstakes. You maybe run into an innings limit, as you mentioned, and maybe you give up a future 5-time All-Star like Kobe Mayo, whatever the case might be.
Right.
Whoever that guy is. So it's a funny spot that they're in, and and I think I think Orioles fans need to kind of because there is this big, this is our year, and it's true, and if you can go all in to some degree, that's great, but keep in mind the big acquisition was kind of already made in January with Corbin Burns.
Yep.
If it's so you want to pair him with somebody, but you got to temper your expectations just given what the market is looking like.
All right, he is Gabe Lacques, and of course you can see all of his stuff in the USA Today and at usatoday.com, and you can also give him a follow on Twitter at Gabe Lacques, GabeLacqueus. Gabe, is there anything else we can plug for you today, man?
Man, that's about it. Just hydrate or dihydrate, as they say. The heat dome is here. Stay cool out there.
Man, I was feeling it when I was grilling on Father's Day. That's a great point. Gabe, appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always.
You got it, Glenn. Take care, man.
It's Gabe Lacques, USA Today, with us here on GCR. I have a couple people. My buddy Dave. This is so you. Everybody is excited about something, so you just want to throw cold water on it. No, that's not. First of all, I like being excitable. I do. I do. I enjoy being excitable. There's times where I can't help myself. I'm all in. I use the term inject it right into my veins. This question yesterday caused me to take a hard look at the reality of this and to say, look, it's fun because it's fun. It's fun because it's right in front of us. It's the series that's being played. Yes, let's be excited about it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it. But I just, that's the other side of me. The pragmatic side is I can't pretend it's something that it isn't. And again, I just wrote about how important I think the Phillies series was. This is not me always constantly trying to, I was in love. I was feeling warm fuzzies being at the ballpark on Friday night. I said it was biblical. So stop it with the, I'm always trying, nah. This is about me doing an analysis of what's happening this week. Albert Suarez, Cade Povich, and Cole Irvin are pitching against the Yankees. I don't think that's a playoff preview. So I got to throw that out the window. Like when we say, hey, this could be a playoff preview. No, it can't be. If that's who the Orioles are throwing in a series in October, one of two things have happened. Either those guys have been unbelievable and are wildly different than we feel about them today, or something has gone seriously wrong. So we start with that. It's not a playoff preview, which doesn't mean that the other players on the field wouldn't be a playoff preview. 2, it's just, I'm not doing this again. I've already told you why I feel this way. What am I doing? I'm repeating myself now. So guys like Dave and Chris said, Glenn, I know you're right, but F you. I appreciate that, Chris. I'm not even mad. Like, I get it. Like, you're like, I don't want to. I don't want to eat my vegetables. It's what it is. All right, we come back in. The Ravens made some news this morning. Not significant, but
I think it's significant.
It's definitely not significant, but
it is.
People care a great deal about these things. So we'll talk about this big announcement that the Ravens made at 10 a.m. today. We'll do that next. Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hagerstown, Maryland, a snapshot of American history that dates back centuries. Today, the roots of the city expand with another historical moment, the grand opening of Meredith Park, Hagerstown's new event stadium and home to the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Experience the energy, culture, and adventure. Plan your getaway today at America's newest and most innovative ballpark. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The Ed Block Courage Award Foundation has been working in partnership with the NFL for 46 years to support abused, neglected, and at-risk youth across the country, partnering each team with a children's facility or program that supports the well-being of those in need. Annually, one player from each team is selected by their peers to receive the Courage Award for their inspiration on and off the field. Learn more about how the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation makes a difference, and be sure to check out their latest podcast and web series episodes at edblock.org.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. We'll talk to Steve Johnson coming up in about 15 minutes about the other pitchers, the guys going to be starting this week for the Orioles in New York. Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, they're getting together today at 3 o'clock. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it there, you'll be able to see it at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Normally on Mondays, but this week on Tuesday, Stan the Fan, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson getting together, previewing Orioles-Yankees coming up later on this afternoon. So, huge announcement. The Baltimore Ravens have done it.
They got rid of the bird.
No, they didn't get rid of the bird. They've got a purple alternate helmet that they'll be throwing into the mix this season. Well, you don't like it?
I mean,
you like everything. You like everything that's new. And
it looks a little too color rushy, and
it definitely looks a little color rushy.
And it looks more Vikings colors. Like, it looks too bright.
Boy, this is weird. I didn't feel that. I can't believe that I'm going to end up being the one defending the Ravens here. I agree that it looks color rushy. So again, they're announcing an alternate helmet, but in all of the imaging that they've shown and the video that they did, they have shown it with the players wearing these purple and gold jerseys, which would make you presume that their intent is that when they wear the helmet, they're going to wear it with these purple and gold jerseys. And so because of that, yes, I understand why you feel like it's color rushy. That being said, I don't mind there being more purple, right? Like, it is the Ravens' color. I've never been opposed to purple. The weird part about the purple is how many times have we looked at, and, like, I don't know if it's dependent on the network that broadcasts the game. I don't know if it's dependent on the TV that you use to watch, but how many times has the purple looked blue?
Yeah.
Like, it's insanity why that's a thing in our lives, that we look up and we say, that's blue. Like, what the hell's going on? So if that continues to be a problem, then yes, this would be particularly over the top. I don't think the helmet itself looks bad at all. I think it looks good. I would wonder how it would look paired with, like, say, a white uniform, right? Like, I would like to see what that combination would look like to deal with your color rushy thing. I think the other thing that you're feeling is it also in some the internet has ruined us. Like, there is this bizarre internet culture of people just, like, mocking, here's what another helmet could look like. It's just this thing that we do. Like, people just imagine other helmets or other logos. And when I first saw it, I swear to God, my first thought was like, and because I was doing a show at the same time, and I just looked at my Twitter account and I saw this thing, and I'm like, did someone just, this is a fan imagination. So that's the first thing that I saw, and now I can't shake it. Like, I'm like, this is what it might look like if a fan drew it up. But I'm not opposed to a purple helmet. I don't think the helmet looks bad. I think it looks good.
I wonder, does the logo do anything more for you? Like, I guess because it's kind of that throwback. It's that throwback logo.
No. We all talk about, like, the shield logo is but the Ravens can't use that, right?
Why can't they use it?
There's like a lawsuit. Hang on. Ravens old logo lawsuit. That B shield. Old NFL Ravens logo. Hang on a second.
So what they wore from 96 to 98, right?
Yes. For a guy named Frederick Bouchat was an amateur artist, and he proposed a logo. This is from the Courthouse News Service. He proposed a logo that featured a flying bee on the shield with wings extending from either side. 1 month later, the Ravens unveiled the flying bee logo as its symbol, featuring a gold shield with a winged purple bee at the center. Finding that the image bore a strong resemblance to his creation, Bouchat accused the team of stealing his idea. A jury ruled in his favor, but refused to award him the $10 million he requested. So essentially, they basically just said, you're right.
So they could, if they paid him $10 million, do you think they could use it? Or?
I guess. I don't know enough about this. Yeah. Look, man, first of all, hi, Glenn Clark. I do not care as much as you guys do about these topics. I don't. I can tell you, I can look at something and say, I think that looks good. I think it doesn't look good, right? Like, the City Connect uniforms look like trash. The City Connect hats look good. I can't go deeper than that. I don't have, I'm not so some people are desirous of I've got to have the flying bee back in my life. I don't care.
It kind of looks cool.
The only uniform related topic that I ever had passion for was the getting Baltimore back on the road jerseys. That was the only thing I ever had passion for in my life, because it was shameful.
When did they take it away?
I don't remember what year it went away. It came back in 09 or 10. I don't remember which of those years. It came back then after the Nationals arrived. So, the Orioles purposely tried to market to the region, and as part of that, they took Baltimore off of the road jerseys. And that sucked. And Orioles fans were right to complain about that. You don't get to pretend like these aren't the Baltimore Orioles because you want more people from Washington to come to the games. Go screw. You bought the Baltimore Orioles. They're the Baltimore Orioles. The city goes on the road jerseys. Now, that got fixed, for what it's worth. And that's the last time that I desperately cared about anything. I get that I've done a lot of shtick. Apparently, our stupid... the number of people that told me that they were being fed the video of me complaining... the algorithm, I hate the world of the algorithm. Yesterday, I had multiple people telling me they were being fed the video that we did about the City Connect uniforms. Well, that data is 2 months old.
It's Yeah.
They've been
Yeah.
they didn't win on Friday, but I think they won a couple of games in the City Connect uniforms before Friday.
Yes, correct.
So
I still think I want to say they're
the
like still below 500.
the pants
Yeah,
changed.
it's true. They did change
They
the pants.
they lost their first game in the pants. Then they won like 3 straight, and then I think they lost. I think there might be 3-2 since changing the pants. I don't remember. They lost the first one.
Because they played the A's.
Did they lose that one? I think they lost that one.
Because we were like,
Because then they lose.
the A's.
Didn't they lose 2 out of 3 in that series?
That sounds right.
I'm pretty sure they lost to the A's in the pants after they changed the pants, and
They
then
did
they
lose 2 of 3, and they lost on Friday.
Yeah,
against
that's what
the
I thought.
A's.
And that was the first one. We're pretty confident in the pants.
Yeah, because that was when we made the video. Because we were like, if they lose
Oh,
the
that's
A's,
right. That's 100% right.
Yeah.
But did they definitely change the pants for that game? I think they did. I think that I had this
Might be right,
conversation with
too.
somebody because I get a lot. People reach out to me about this topic regularly. And then how many home games they had since then? Right. Seattle, yeah. And they won both of
They won
those.
both of those. Then they
Right.
beat Tampa.
So they won
on the
3.
31st.
Right.
Then they lost to Philly.
Yeah.
So they
So
won
I'm right.
3.
They're 3-2 since they've changed the pants.
Mhm.
All right, so stick it out. Again, as I said, I hate the jerseys, but if they win in the jerseys in different pants, I've said this before, I don't care. When y'all were losing your minds about the Maryland football, the crazy changes they made to those in 2012, 2013, whatever year it was, like that they unveiled all the wild new configurations. I remember Dominique Foxworth and I doing a segment on the show the next day where I said, dude, they could wear Duke uniforms if they're going to win. I don't give a rat's ass. You're not going to get me to care. You all love the Maryland football script Terps helmets.
Yeah.
I don't. I like
It's great.
to me the state flag helmet is the most beautiful thing in the
Well, yeah,
world.
that is good.
I don't know why we go away from it. If you wanted to try to combine the two and do like script Terps over a state flag, I don't know, maybe, but I feel like that might be too busy. I don't know that would work. But could you do a state flag color on the script? I don't know. Whatever.
Like have the state flag in the
in
instead of
the
red.
lettering,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like I don't know. We'll talk about it another day. It's not for me. I'm a fan of the state flag helmets because they're unique and they're different and nobody else has them, and I like that. I like the idea of being different, unique, and it's something we all love. Whenever somebody says, dude, I'm state flagged out, I just want to kick them in their nads. Like, have you seen the flag? It's beautiful. I would feel that way if we had an ugly state flag. We don't. We have the most compelling state flag that's ever existed. So, yeah, I like it, and I buy all my state flag gear. That's the way that it goes for your boy. Anyway, I'm losing. I'm way off. I'm out here somewhere. Point of this is I don't care personally all that much about this. The only Ravens-related uniform, topic that I've ever – the mustard pants sucked. They were terrible. They were wretched. They were just
So
awful.
now if they bring those back to combine with this helmet.
This helmet and the mustard pants, that's going to be the play moving forward.
uh,
May they never
again,
wear
if they win.
Yeah, may they never win the mustard may they never wear the mustard pants again. I talk for a living, believe it or not. But this helmet, indifferent. John from Little Rock told me he loves it. Like
I don't love it. I
love it, and I've been waiting for
this
this one for a long time. I'm sure everyone will lose their minds because that's what we do now. I disagree. I think people genuinely like. There are people that would still tell you they like the mustard. Like whenever there's a new uniform thing, no matter how ugly it is, there will be people that will tell you they like it just because they like things that are new and different, and that's hip, and that's some gear that I can buy. And
maybe I'm just too used to a black helmet. And so, like, if they had put this bird on the black helmet, I feel like I might feel a little better about it. But and just the purple, the shade of purple seems off to me. That's why.
Well, if it looks blue on television, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that, and that's been a problem. The Ravens have had that problem, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's their fault. I don't know if it's related to the cameras, I don't know what it is. I've never been able to get to the bottom of why it is that the uniforms, the purple, oftentimes looks blue on television, but it's a problem. So if it doesn't, like, that's the only caveat that I have no issue with it. But if the first time because I don't go to the games anymore, I watch them all on television unless I have a new job come this fall, and you never know. Then I will not be at the stadium. I will be watching from home, and if I see blue, then I'm going to suddenly say Griffin was right.
Thank you.
This stinks. It's all blue. It's awful. But if I turn it on and I see purple, I'm going to say thumbs up. That's the Ravens color.
They're
I'm
only going to
all
wear
in.
it once, right? So
Is that the deal?
That's what
I was looking for a news
know.
story related to it, and I didn't see that on Twitter. Maybe
for
it's
some
on their
reason I thought
website.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was making that up, or is that what Schefter? Hold on, because Schefter had a tweet too.
Oh, did he?
Schefter said
He's gonna get the
Ravens
bottom of this.
alternate. Yeah, Ravens alternate helmets that they will wear for one game this season.
Okay.
That is what Schefter said.
Clifton Brown wrote something about it on the website.
But and Schefter's the only one that has them wearing like the gold numbered jerseys.
No, that's
with
out
them.
in other places too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's other.
Tyler Wallace a model. How about that?
The new helmet will be worn with the Ravens Color Rush uniforms.
Okay.
So are they bringing back is Color Rush coming back? Is that the real story here that we're missing? Because we're all just talking about the helmets.
So it will be one of the Thursday night games.
This is in Clifton Brown's story at BaltimoreRavens.com. The new helmet will be worn with the Ravens Color Rush uniforms. The new helmets were designed to match the Color Rush scheme. But did we know that? Is that a thing? What am I missing here? Has that been out there that we're doing Color Rush again in 2024?
Thursday, November 7th, they host the Bengals.
That's a Thursday night?
That's a Thursday night. That might be their only one. I believe that is the only one. Of course, Wednesday afternoon football, so who knows? Who knows what they wear for that one?
Yeah, I don't see anything about Color Rush being back in 2024.
So they could just do it on a random Sunday at 1 p.m.?
Maybe it's not like they don't have to. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is so weird.
I would think it has to be that Thursday night home game, right?
Hang on, there's a wiki page for Color Rush. Discontinue.
Some teams just kept
on April 2018, the league announced the Color Rush promotion would be discontinued under the terms of the new Thursday Night Football broadcast contract. Although the program is discontinued, the Color Rush term is still used by some teams as a name for alternate uniform design. So okay, it's not that Color Rush is back. It's just that like the teams can choose that they want to do a Color Rush. I hate it here, man. I'm sorry. There are moments where I'm just like, dude, this is not for. I say this to people sometimes. I needed to have more success in my career by now. I have not had enough success for me to be
I don't
able.
think it gets better than talking about the new Ravens.
This is the I'm not at a place in my career where I can just tap out on things and say this is so dumb. I'm just not there because you have to get along with these people sometimes. You have to be like, "Oh, this is amazing," when like you just don't feel that way. I just needed to have more success in my life before this moment so that I could say look, man, if they want to do a Color Rush, it's fine. And that I don't have any problem with them. You're right. It does look Color Rushy. And if that's what they're just saying, hey, purple's our color. It's just that me having to Wikipedia all of the like
I don't know.
I really my Dad. Hey, Dad, are you listening? Why didn't you make me go to law school? Why weren't you more abusive?
Abusive?
Force me. I know, I mean, not really, but like, I'm starting to wonder if maybe he should have been. Like, why couldn't you have forced me? Like,
Stop watching sports.
Hit me with the switch. Like, say, son, you need to go get a medical degree. You need to go do something with your life. Why did you support me? Why did you allow me?
And now the Raven, like looking at the 360 video, the Ravens, like the old logo, it looks a little too small. Like I feel like I want it bigger, and it looks a little small in the helmet. So, I am so.
When
these things come out and they're blue on that Prime on the
Amazon
Amazon
then
Prime,
I'm gonna have an opinion. But it's not gonna be on Amazon Prime because it's not for Thursday Night Football. It's just for whatever random game they choose.
It's gonna be for Thursday Night Football.
Why?
Because that's when they'll do it.
Why?
Because that's the Color Rush night.
No, but it's not. It hasn't been since 2018. Wikipedia just told me
They'll
that.
bring it back.
Why?
Because they wanted.
What if Amazon doesn't want
that?
that? What if Amazon doesn't want to be confused with the old Color Rush scheme?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. What if Amazon says
then
we're better than that?
What if CBS doesn't want to?
I don't know.
And then ESPN doesn't want to. So then they're stuck on Netflix. So it will be the Netflix.
It will be the Christmas game.
Yeah,
it'll be the game that they do this. It'll be the Color Rush will be the official legacy of Wednesday afternoon football. That'll be every time that we play Wednesday afternoon football, we're going back to Color Rush. That's the way it's going to be. Now, if they did some like cool Christmas themed jerseys, by the way, for Christmas Day, I'm listening because I have said before those red quarterback uniforms they wear in training camp are dope. Like, I have always thought those jerseys look cool as hell. Now, I get it. You know, the red's not part of their color scheme, and they're never going to do red. But every time we get to training camp and I see the red quarterback jersey again, I'm like, damn. I remember, I don't know why, Troy Smith, I bumped into him one time.
He would look good in that.
Troy Smith looked incredible in the red. Like, he was, like, born to wear that. And I get part of it is we were so used to seeing him play at Ohio State that, like, we were adjusting. But, like, Troy Smith in that red looked amazing. Fed families, as the kids like to say. Those red quarterback jerseys. Here, Steve Johnson. Johnson might have an opinion about this.
I might be back on because now I see the Ravens tweet. The official Ravens tweet is the Kings of the North have new crowns.
Nope.
I like that.
Nope.
Well done.
No. Back out.
I'm on.
We didn't talk at all yesterday about the fact that they're doing the in-season Hard Knocks on the AFC North. I have a lot of questions. Like, first of all, you guys know I'm not really a Hard Knocks person, but would I watch this because it's Ravens related? Yeah. The problem being, like, I don't really want to watch one that's about all 4 teams. Like, I don't care. And that, I think, is the part that, like,
they know what the real story will be.
Right. I think the part of this that we got to figure out is, are they saying AFC North because what it's really going to be is about whoever the teams are that are competing at that point to win the AFC North? Like, I don't know if it's going to be all 4. Like, if one of these teams loses their quarterback, with all due respect, I'm not going to be all that interested. Well, actually, Steelers, we don't know if they have a quarterback or not. But, like, I would like to know more of what that plan is, if they just don't want to commit to a team because they want to make sure that the team that they have is definitely in it. And so that's why they're like, well, we'll go with this division. I'll be inclined to watch, despite the fact that I'm not necessarily a Hard Knocks person. Like, I will be inclined to watch it. All right, into hour number 2 of the program. It's always good to catch up with our next guest. Of course, former Orioles pitcher. He is Baltimore zone, Kingsville zone. Our friend, Mr. Steve Johnson, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Hey, Steve, have you seen the Ravens' new alternate helmets yet?
I have.
And how are you feeling about them?
I like them.
Okay. Do you like the color rush? Do you like the idea of wearing all purple?
It's not my favorite, but it is different.
See, I'm cool with it as long as it doesn't. I don't know if you've ever dealt with this the way I have. Like, sometimes when I watch the games, they come off as they're blue. Like, the purple looks blue on TV sometimes. And then I'm opposed to it. But I'm not opposed to, like, if the purple looks sharp, I'm not opposed. It's the Ravens' color. Like, I have no issue with it being all purple.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite combination of stuff, but it's better than the yellow pants.
What? Yeah, so. Okay. I mean, anything. My God.
Although the helmet, I think, would go with, purple top, yellow pants.
Don't you dare encourage it. Don't you dare. What is your, like, if you're getting amped up for a game, are you, like, I hope it's all black? Is that where you're at?
The all black on night games is
it's
tough to beat. But yeah. I do like the black top, purple pants combo too.
Ooh, black top, purple pants isn't bad. You're right about that. Was it Suggs that said he always felt faster in the all black? Like, he genuinely.
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, when you pitch, did you, like, have a uniform that, like, you felt like you performed better in?
Oh, well, in the minors at least, the starting pitcher was always the one that got to pick.
Really?
Most of the time, got to pick the jersey, got to pick the hat. If we had an alternate that we could use, a lot of times the starting pitcher was the one. So there were sometimes different jerseys that were more comfortable, especially in the minor league. Sometimes you got thrown some jerseys that were not new. So
like got one that had been around for like 6 years, and you realize, like,
oh yeah,
how many
really thick.
Yeah,
you'd get this, like, alternate almost practice jersey that ended up being like the main jersey for home games, and then they'd have to tell us that, hey, we have to wear this jersey a little bit more.
Oh no. I was just
it is what it is.
Dude, I was just trying to explain to Griffin, because you got to remember, he's like 23. I was just trying to explain to him what a big deal it was when the Orioles put Baltimore back on the road uniforms, right? And that was right before you arrived. Was that a big deal for you to, like, get to wear Baltimore on a road, like, knowing how much it meant to so many people and how many people were so hurt by the fact that it wasn't on the road jersey for so long?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it was right. I think it was my rookie year was the first year that it was
that
back.
might be
so
right. You might be right about that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. I think I remember kind of seeing it in spring training, and then obviously they changed the hats around that time as well, back to
the cartoon
the
bird.
old school bird,
Yeah.
cartoon bird. So I was more happy, I think, about that hat. I like that hat so much.
Yeah.
And being able to wear that, and then obviously the Baltimore on the jerseys was just pretty cool.
Dude, it was
just that.
It was like genuinely emotional for people. Like I remember being there for the unveiling and like looking around at like people being really emotional about seeing balls because it's just been so long and we had been waiting for it.
Yeah.
It was a good.
I think it looks better too with the grays.
I agree
nice.
strongly about that. We strongly agree. All right. This week the Orioles play the Yankees for 3 games. It's awesome, right? Like it's awesome. It's everything you want in the baseball series. And people are mad at me, but I was asked the question yesterday on another radio show, and I was asked, hey, how important is this series? And as I started answering, I came around to, yeah, I don't know actually how important it really is. Like, other than it's the series you're playing, and so you want to win it, and you definitely don't want to get swept and fall behind 4.5 games in the division, but like you already won. It's not like the Orioles have to prove anything anymore. Like I think a year ago that question was more relevant because all of these things felt like, measuring stick and are you legitimate? Like we're past that now. Like even if somehow the Orioles were to get swept this week, we'd say, hey, that sucks, but it wouldn't be like suddenly a moment where we say we think the Orioles are frauds. Like we know how good they are. Sometimes teams lose games. I just don't know that it's like as important as we want it to be when we say it out loud.
I agree. I think a June series is always it's a June series. It's early, still early in the season. You have no idea where both these teams are going to end up in 2 months. So I think the later series is obviously more important, but still it's against the first place team. I think why it might be even more of an important series is this has been a really tough month for them. They've done great so far. 1 day off in the month is just so rare as it is. With the teams that they're playing is also very rare that a team has to play as many teams as they're playing in the month that they're playing with 1 day off, which is just a combination that I just think that really rarely happens very few teams have to deal with that at the moment. But I think the biggest thing is that they're going versus the Yankees, I think top guys, with their not as top guys.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good kind of, see where they match up, see how they perform against some of the best that the Yankees have to offer with, the back half of the rotation for the Orioles. I think that'll be a good test.
Steve Johnson is with us here on GCR. What you just pointed out, like, by the way, that's when somebody says, hey, it's a playoff preview. I'm like, yeah, no, these probably would not be the guy. I don't know where you're at if these are the guys you're throwing in a playoff series. With that said, right, because the knowns, obviously, Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, if healthy, Kyle Bradish, everything after that in this rotation, by the way, the unknown of Bradish is part of this conversation.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you with where the Orioles are starting pitching-wise, like knowing, hey, this is what they've got to throw out there for a series against the Yankees? Suarez has been great. Irvin, for the most part, has been great. Povich is coming off a really good start. How comfortable are you beyond those top two? Do you feel like we're at a place where the Orioles have to be in the starting pitching market?
I think if you're just looking at how they've performed up to this point, with the rotation as a whole, with the, in and out, guys coming in, getting hurt, being out, guys on the IL, and you have what you have in terms of what they've done so far, I can't help but think that they're going to be okay. If you happen to get Bradish back, that's just a tough situation with what he's already done or has been through this year. It's like that's a little bit of a worry, but at the same point, they've done pretty well as a whole. And the guys, even at the back half of the rotation, have performed pretty good. We've talked about Suarez before. Can he continue it? And for the most part, he has. So, you have to be looking pretty good. And then also, I'm sure at some point we're going to start talking about trades and who they can get. And I would imagine that they're probably going to try and bring somebody in. Is it going to be a top guy? Who knows? But that will only help the situation. I still think they have they've proven to have pretty good depth so far.
I agree that, like, again, it's been a miracle what they've gotten out of Suarez to this point, right? Like, that's unbelievable. And Cole Irvin, for the most part, has been great. I guess it's all viewed in the context of trying to win a World Series, right? And, like, that's, I guess, where I'm asking the question of, like, how confident are you that those guys can go win you a World Series? And it's been pointed out, our friend Stan the Fan Charles, reminded everybody, hey, nobody had that type of confidence in Mike Boddicker in 1983, and yet, look at what he went and did. That's a long time ago. I'm in that tough part where what you said I know is true. Like, I know these guys have gotten the job done, and they deserve more respect, and yet I would still find myself antsy if you got to a playoff series and it was like Cole Irvin, Albert Suarez 3-4, or Kramer Suarez 3-4, or something like that.
I mean, I agree to a point, but I look at what they've done this month against the teams that they've done it against, and they've faced possible, World Series contenders in almost pretty much back-to-back series, and everyone performed pretty well. Even the bullpen that everyone's worried about has had its ups and downs, but for the most part is a top bullpen in the league. As much as everyone wants to say they need to, get all these guys, it's like, well, overall, they've done pretty well. And that's really all you can really talk about is what have they done against some of the best. And so far, even in a tough month where they're facing team after team after team that is possibly in contention, they get the job done. And are they going to get the job done? October's a way different time, and we've already seen that. But you can only go by what they're actually doing on the field. And as much as everyone wants these big names and better guys, it's like that doesn't always work out. And the guys that they have at the moment are performing.
What the way that I talked to Buck Showalter the other day, he said, sure, could somebody help you? Quite possibly, but you don't need to make any move. Like, he kept dialing in on that. Like, I don't like us saying that you need to do something. Know who you are was the quote that he came away with. And he's like, this team is really good. They don't need to do something. And I understood his point, which is like, don't just make a move for the sake of making a move and trade somebody you're going to regret because you feel like you have to. You're probably good enough as is. And that's it. Boy, it's a tough thing to say because everybody wants to try to win a World Series in June or July, right? But like, it's just not the way that that. There's not going to be one move that's going to be, hey, this now guarantees that you're going to go win a World Series.
Yeah, and just like throwing money at everyone in the world doesn't guarantee that it's going to work out. You see that with pretty much with a lot of teams right now that have thrown a bunch of money to a bunch of guys, and they have a huge payroll, and you can beat them. It doesn't mean that they're going to automatically perform. And I think, like I said, they've proven that they have a little bit of depth with even rotation. I mean, who could have thought that saying that they're going to lose possible 3 rotation guys for a lot of the year and have also Grayson miss a little bit and Kramer miss a little bit and be in the situation that they're in. No one would have said that would have happened. So, and that's where they are at the moment. They've had to deal with a bunch of that, and they're still at the top of their game, at the top of the league. So I think it'll be a good test this week for sure. But at the same time, Buck's right. You're good where you are. Just got to see where you end up in 2 months. There's a lot. It's a long season for a reason.
What impressed you about Povich? Like that to me, again, I use the word miraculous probably too much, but coming off a rough first start to go throw 6 shutout innings against the Atlanta Braves is bonkers. Not walk anyone after 4 walks in the first start. Like, what impressed you about what you saw from him?
I think what you just said, just the being able to go out against a pretty good team after not maybe having your best start. That first start is, I honestly would hope that every time someone has their first start, you just kind of, if it's bad, you just throw it out the window. Just because there's so many nerves that are going into it, and you don't have your best stuff a lot of the time, just because of all that adrenaline that's going into it, and the fact that he was able to come back, stay in the zone, really work that curveball in. I mean, that was deadly all day for that whole lineup. So I was very impressed with that. He just came out and attacked.
What's it like being in the spot that he's going to be in tomorrow? Like, your 3rd career start being at Yankee Stadium, right? And like when we talk about it, we're almost like it's not allowed. Like, you can't do that, right? But we know, like, this happens. Once you're a major leaguer, you've got to go face major leaguers and good players. But, like, what is that like to get here? Is it as crazy as we imagine it would be? Like, in our minds, we think that, like, you'd be walking out, like, with flop sweats and just panicked about it. But is that not the case? Like, once you're there, is it just sort of like, hey, everything is baseball? It's no different where I am, who I'm facing, anything like that?
I think after your first couple outings, obviously it's like, I've been here before. Things are more calm. He's had 2 starts now. I know just even after my debut, it was a relief appearance.
Yeah.
And that was, very, very, I barely remember it. Then I went out for my first start, which was my second outing ever, 2 weeks later. And it was just way more calming. Felt like I'd been there before. Everything felt like normal. And I think that's basically what ended up happening for him for his last start. And then you get obviously these moments where you go into Yankee Stadium, where you go into Fenway, and it is what it is. You're playing the Red Sox, you're playing the Yankees. As this division is, you're in some big spots and with some history with these teams, and that always goes on. But once you throw that first pitch, it's just like any other game for the most part. It's still big league outing, but you find that comfort, and he's done this for a long time, and it ends up being like, hey, I'm just in another first inning.
Yeah, that's still Aaron Judge, though, on the other side.
Yeah.
You can't.
There's no getting away from the name, but it still is. You're attacking them like you've attacked some top prospects down in the minors. You've attacked some guys who have some big league time already. Once you start doing that, and he has probably all the confidence in the world that he can get him out.
All right, so I'm getting ready to bring my older son, Graham, back up to see you. You want to remind everybody how you're making better baseball players up in Hartford County?
Yep, we're at Optimal Baseball Performance. I'm just trying to make some better baseball players, kind of get some of the basics down, along with some of the functional strength to be able to do it more often. So I'm having a good time up here.
I am really excited. Graham talks about you a lot. By the way, I actually bumped into your dad the other night, and I kept talking to him about how you have impacted my son's lives, and I want you to know that, even in just one training session so far. And he had 2 big strikeouts in the playoff game on the mound, and then he crushed a double to left field. And that kid is on cloud 9. Like that, he will carry that with him until next baseball season.
That's awesome to hear.
Can't wait to come back up and get some more time. I'll be in touch at sjohnson831 on Twitter if you want to reach out to him and try to get something scheduled. And remind me, is there a website? Because I feel like we had this conversation the last time, and I found out I don't want to give out your cell phone number.
No, optimalbaseball.com. I have everything on there, so you can reach out through one of the contact us forms, and we'll be able to get in touch with anybody.
Love you, brother. Always appreciate you. Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with us.
Yeah.
Steve Johnson, former Orioles pitcher, with us here on GCR. Whew. No more uniform talk. I'm done with that. We're tapped out on uniform talk. Update, by the way, on our Euro competition. Big day for Kyle Ottenheimer. Slovakia. Look at Slovakia. By the way, what happened to Belgium? What happened?
It's over.
Is it over? Is
Yeah.
it just over? I kind of still hate them going back to
the 14? Is that when that was?
Was that 14?
I think it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to die.
That was 10 years ago. Holy cow.
I'm not comfortable with that being true. Oh. And I still it was Chris Wondolowski's fault more than it was anybody's fault, but I still kind of hate them. Lukaku was in everybody's faces. Get out of my face.
The Tim Howard game that we're talking
Tim
about?
Howard was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
yes, it was 2014.
brilliant.
Most definitely.
Chris Wondolowski missed. I don't want to think about it. Mbappe missed one bad yesterday. Did you see that? France won, but Mbappe just shanked. Goal wide open, and just shanked it right. Goalie off the line.
Mbappe.
It's just a bad miss. France doesn't matter that much. Unlike Wondolowski, who could have won it for the U.S. and then they lost. France won. And it wasn't even a knockout round. It was a group stage match, too. But, yeah, Belgium, what's going on there? So Kyle gets 6 points yesterday. Kyle's now up to 6 points, so he and I are tied. And John in Little Rock, he messaged and said he might be going ahead and preparing the hot mayo hot dogs because if he's missing points on Belgium, he might be in trouble. Like, there's no way around that. He might. Remember, the rest of his team is that like Belgium was the one he probably felt the best about. Turkey, Poland, Chile, Panama.
Panama could go on a run.
How?
I mean, by running, obviously.
Thank you. Great point.
Scoring more goals than the other team.
Like, I was trying to, if we did it based on odds, he had one of the worst draws because he didn't have any teams with triple digits. So Jeremy Kahn was the only other one that didn't have any teams with triple digits, but he got Italy. And
and the U.S. So he's winning the Copa, so that's pretty good.
That's a great point. He is winning the Copa. They both have better odds
that'll help him out.
than John and Little Rock's top two teams. Like, John and Little Rock needed Belgium and so that is concerning. And I don't
know. Poland might.
Yeah, you think? You think it might be Poland's time?
Maybe.
Remember, the loser has to eat 5 hot dogs with mayo during the course of a show. I guess John, I don't know if he's coming to town this summer. We'll have to check in with him.
Turkey plays Georgia today. And they're favored.
Well, I mean, but you get that Bulldogs defense, man. Like, they are. They get after you. They haven't been the same offensively since they lost Todd Monken, but that defense, man.
So you thinking a 0-0 draw then as well?
Could be in line. When we come back in,
Poland's form, terrible form.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Poland not in good shape. And the Bulldogs, they've won 3 in a row.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Who knew? I was actually surprised that Georgia was in the Euro, frankly. Like, no Iceland in the Euro this time around, which is a bummer because, like, Iceland makes everything better. Like, they're fun. They do the whole Georgia.
Albania's pretty.
Albania was fun, except they're not
going to win anything.
Go F themselves for what they did to the spaghetti. Dreadful humans. Griffin.
Well, they got Croatia tomorrow. Albania does.
Griffin.
What are they gonna do to the Croatians?
Listened to the assignment. And is ready to report on Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Griffin's movie reviews. It's been a while.
It has been.
It's been a long time, but we're bringing it back next on GCR.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor, dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores, or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. Still to come, we will preview the Yankees. Jorge Castillo covers Major League Baseball, but specifically the New York Yankees for ESPN. He will join us a little bit later on here on GCR to talk about this week's series, which, again, I contend a little bit more important for the Yankees than it is for the Orioles, but I get it. We're going to be excited about it either way. I just sent you, by the way, 2 clips over there that you could use for this. Do you still have the open?
I should, yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Been a little while since we've done this, but it's time.
Oh, no.
No.
What?
No.
What does it mean it's gone?
No.
Hold on.
It was all going to go so well.
It was going to go so well.
It's going to go so well today. Griffin's movie reviews, whether we have an open or not, will be brought to you by CountySports.Zone. County Sports Zone will be your home all summer long for the latest news, things like coaching changes, previews for high school football season, all of that. Just because high school sports season is over, that doesn't mean the County Sports Zone just takes the summer off. They start getting you ready for the fall and let you know about everything you need to know on the local scene, high school sports. All covered by County Sports Zone, which is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Did that buy it?
All right.
It is time for movie reviews with Griffin.
I was
going to say, that sounds very basic.
Yeah.
I
had one with Jeremy's voice. I don't know what happened to it.
Well, let's see if we can't get that figured out before we do it again. So, as you'll remember, when Griffin took over here on GCR, we immediately became aware that he had not seen a lot of classic films. Now look, man, he's young. I understand that.
Thank you.
The problem is a little bit that he hasn't seen them. But the real problem would be if once you're made aware of them, you still choose to black that out and just sort of say, nope, don't want to. So we've given him the assignment to see a lot of films. Remind some folks of some of the films that you have reviewed so far. Do you still have the scores for past Griffin's movie reviews?
Oh shoot, I did not keep the scores down. I mean, they're in the clip, yeah, of like the segment when we cut the segment.
This is very difficult. We got it.
Road trip.
I
did. I mean, I should have my Letterboxd scores if you want that. So
what Letterboxd?
Yeah, Letterboxd is where you like log movies that you watch. And
do you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know you did that. I did not know that was a thing for you.
This is that's
I've got one to add to your list because I found out that it has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I want to defund all movie critics. I want movie critics to lose all funding. I don't know where their funding comes from, but it needs to go away after I found this out.
I think Wedding Crashers was the first one.
Okay.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that was up there.
That was a good one.
Can't Hardly Wait.
That was a cult classic. I recognize that Road Trip and Can't Hardly Wait are not like truly classic films. They're cult classics.
Old school
classic.
Tommy Boy,
and iconic.
And I said Road Trip, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's the list.
So there's a mix there of cult classics and like genuine classics in that group. Now, I don't remember how this came up.
I want to.
Did you recognize what okay?
Like, Wedding Crashers
hang on.
Obviously
pull
knew
up,
about.
Pull up the 2 clips that I sent you, because the first one is the Wrigley Field. Today we're reviewing Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, not a cult classic, a true classic. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a wonderful motion picture. I remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off being introduced to me when I was 10 years old. So that would have been in 1993. The film came out in 1986. I don't remember the exact circumstances. I feel like I was at an event with my friends, and I don't even remember the circumstances. I don't know if it was like Boy Scouts or whatever it was, and they like played a clip from it was him faking being sick. And I said, I need to know everything there is to know about this film. And my older cousins had it on VHS, and I borrowed it and watched it like 17 times that summer. It was my favorite film, bar none. Of course, starring the great Matthew Broderick as Ferris Bueller, his friend Cameron, played by Alan Ruck, who has had quite the renaissance in recent years. You remember him, among other things, Alan Ruck most recently showing up on Succession as
really?
Connor Roy, the eldest brother, but not the eldest boy, because he did not have the same mother. So they kind of excluded him, failed run for president, the whole thing. Alan Ruck played Cameron.
He was in Speed.
He was in Speed.
What was he in
A legendary cameo from Ben Stein in that film. Anyone, Bueller. A very legendary cameo from Charlie Sheen, of course, in the police station later on the film.
Oh, is that who
that was? Charlie Sheen? That was Charlie Sheen,
With
who
his
was sort of the
sister.
punk rock. Yeah, that was Charlie Sheen. Jennifer Grey, of course, played his sister. Jennifer Grey, who you remember famously as Baby in Dirty Dancing. Jennifer Grey played his sister. So, yeah.
Do I need to add Dirty Dancing, I guess, to the list?
It would be weird. Dirty Dancing is not a film that I
Obviously,
ever...
it doesn't, like...
Mrs. Clark loves Dirty Dancing. Loves Dirty Dancing. And I would say that everybody... It is a cultural touchstone that everyone should have seen.
Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, all right, we're not talking about Dirty Dancing. Settle down.
I'm in.
Settle down.
Let me add it to my watch list.
Settle down. Do you have the Wrigley Field clip ready to go?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna.
What are you doing?
So the thing when we can't exactly play things directly, or it's a little more challenging directly off YouTube. Well, because
you can't.
They
just
don't want
screen?
you to. Yeah, they don't want you to. So if I click out of the screen when I play it, I should be able to play it. Or I'm gonna kind of be
I don't know what you're saying.
testing things out.
I don't know.
It doesn't want you to like copy for copyright reasons. It doesn't want you to completely.
I understand the thought, but I thought we could just screen share.
Yeah, we should be able to.
Okay. Yeah. Are we gonna try? Yeah. So this is how it came up. I regularly reference when someone says to me, "What's the score?" I'll say back, "It's tied." And then I'll ask them, like, if they don't follow that up, if they don't know what it is that I want from them in that moment, I get furious. Because what I want them to say back is, who's winning? And that, of course, comes from this iconic scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where he's snuck out to the Cubs game.
First base, nobody out. That's the first hit they've had since the fifth inning. Only the fourth hit in the game. 0-2 the count. There's a drive, left field, twisting and into foul territory. Boy, I'm really surprised they didn't go for it in that inning.
There's, of course, Ferris Bueller there catching. And
where's the score? Nothing. Who's winning? The Bears.
The Bears. Does say nothing, not. It's tied. I always say it's tied. I've screwed that up. That's good. I don't want us to get in trouble now. I think we got a taste of it. So go ahead. Remind everybody that just give the synopsis of the film.
I think I broke my thumb.
There's this guy, Matthew
Ferris Bueller.
Parents obviously adore him, not his sister.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not that they don't love his sister. It's just that he sort of gets treated like the favorite because he's very affable. Yeah. Like Ferris is just like the most likable guy there is. So
is Ferris a real like name?
I don't know that. I know Ferris State, of course. If we're going to do King of the Pharisees, I do know someone.
Ferris Wheel.
Ferris Wheel. That's not bad, but I'm going to trump you.
probably gonna beat me.
Aberdeen Ironbirds mascot is named Ferris.
I hate him.
Yeah. Got Ferris Bueller.
Right, no, we already did that. It's off the table.
There's, of course, Ferris.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have another one?
No. I would be able to get one more.
I don't think I can get another one. Ferris.
Yeah. If you took this one, I'd be in trouble.
So maybe I should know it.
Yeah.
Ferris.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're approaching it the wrong way.
It's the last name Ferris. Yeah. I got it.
Baltimore's own, the ex Mrs. Chris Pratt.
Oh,
Anna
Ferris. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't get to have it.
She's from Baltimore?
Yes, she's from Baltimore.
Wow.
I get that one. And, please.
I mean,
say it.
If you're barely.
Say it.
I mean, because there was only like 3 of them.
Say it.
You're the king of all 3 Ferrises.
Jesus, you get so bitter about this. Just win, and then you don't have to do it. Like, it's not a problem.
So he fakes being sick, and hold on, because I'm just trying to play it by memory. Let's see. So yeah, he fakes being sick, and he
for
goes
no
over.
noble reason.
Really?
Like
yeah.
that's I think part of this. It's not like
when it first starts, I'm trying to figure out like, okay, I guess he's in high school because
yes,
I don't
he's
really
in high
know,
school
because he looks a little old for.
Well, yeah, Matthew Broderick was by that point out of high school, no question about that.
So I'm trying to just get a sense of what's going on, and then it's like, okay, yeah, so he's obviously in high school.
We are already at 11:37. We have killed way too much time here. Can we do 11:45 for our guest? Will that work?
I think we could.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. We got to move along.
Yeah.
Speed it up.
But he goes over. His parents buy it very, very, very easily. And they're like, "Well, you got to stay in bed, get better." And
he
so
just wants a day off. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not nothing. No, he just doesn't want to go to school that day.
He has a test. He knows he's got a test,
Yep.
and he's like, "Yeah, but I'll just make it up."
Yep.
And he's not a care in the world. This is his senior year. Sounds like it's senior spring. Like
yeah, right. Like
there's
he's
nothing-
got the
obviously
senioritis
senior spring.
going
The
on.
Cubs are playing.
Yeah, right.
So he doesn't care at all. He goes over. That was I was like, okay, so he just is gonna do this fourth wall thing, I guess, throughout the movie.
Yeah,
and,
where he's talking to the
so
camera.
That was when he first started doing that, where he was like, but yeah, he was like, yeah, you lick your hands, lick your palms, and that's how you get your hands clammy.
Yeah.
So his parents bought it. They leave. They go to work, and they're like, hey, buddy, call me.
Yeah, right.
Call
yeah,
me.
they
You
love
need
him.
us?
They love him.
Call
They're
me.
so excited. They're so okay.
His sister's pissed.
Yeah,
so
she knows.
Yeah. So I think they flash over to school, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I hope Ferris feels better."
By the way, it's not just they start a Save Ferris campaign.
That was so I watched it with my
Which
sister.
is-
My sister had seen it, and so she was making fun of me too. She was like, "How have you not seen this?" But when
How
we got-
old's your sister?
She's 19. She's a
And
freshman in
she's
college.
seen Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, she's.
Maybe she should be sitting in that chair.
This is
We
her
might
job
wanna-
now.
we might want to think about that.
And yes, I did like that part because when they get to Wrigley Field, because I noticed it instantly. They have the little scoreboard little thing where it said, and on the banner it says like "Save Ferris." on the little
So
banner.
you don't know there was a popular ska band in the 1990s that had the name Save Ferris because of this film, which was very very good.
But yes, so I noticed that right away, and yeah, as you get they go down, they venture downtown. Okay, I'm jumping ahead.
Well, there's a few iconic moments within the film.
Mm-hmm. He calls his friend Cam, and he's like, "Dude, you got to pick me up."
Now,
And-
Cameron has a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah.
Cameron is
Sounds like
clinically
he's not
depressed.
loved by
he's
his family
almost the
as
exact
much.
opposite of Ferris.
Yeah. His dad's very well off, but he doesn't care about it. He doesn't have any love. He doesn't love his family as much. All he loves is his car. And he's like, "Hey, dude, you got to pick me up." And then they do the great bit where they trick the teacher, they trick the principal.
Well, the dead grandmother. I did send you that clip as well. I don't know if we have time to go through the rigmarole again. The legendary produce the corpse scene, like just. So Ed Rooney is the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and is played by Jeffrey Jones. And I know Jeffrey Jones did other things, and I'm just struggling off the top of my head to remember what they were, but just kills as Ed Rooney. Like, phenomenal heel. Could not be a better villain.
He was in Beetlejuice?
Yes.
He was in Stuart Little.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about that. That's not going to register with me in any way. But he was definitely in Beetlejuice.
Dr. Dolittle 2.
Yeah, you got to...
Howard the Duck.
Okay, these are not. I
Devil's Advocate.
could have sworn there was some other.
The Devil's Advocate.
I do remember the Devil's Advocate a little bit. All right, move on.
Harry Crump?
We're
You wanna
running out
watch
of time.
it? All
We're
right.
running out of time. We got to move on. He plays Ed Rooney. Are we playing the clip or not? This is just spectacular. So They're trying to bust Ferris's girlfriend out of school.
Correct.
They want her to be able to spend the day with them.
What was her name? Sarah.
Gallivanting.
Mia Sarah.
Oh, that's the actress.
Yeah. She in anything?
I don't remember, but I don't remember. What was the name of what was his girlfriend's name?
Sloan.
Sloan Patterson or Peterson? Which one is it?
Peterson.
Sloan Peterson. Oh, God.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes. All right. So they make a phone call. They come up with a story of how they're going to get Sloan out of school. Her grandmother has passed.
Rooney.
Ed, this is George Peterson.
How are you today, sir?
Well, we've had a bit of bad luck this morning, as you may have heard.
Yeah, I heard, and I'm all broken up. Boy.
The principal is on to Ferris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been a tough morning, and we've got a lot of family business to take care of, so if you wouldn't mind excusing Sloan, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Yeah, you just produce a corpse, and I'll release Sloan. I want to see this dead grandmother firsthand. It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller.
Grace, the
twerp. I'm going to set a trap and let him fall right into it.
They think he's a righteous dude.
Ed, I'm sorry. Did you say you wanted to see a body?
Yeah, that's right. Just roll her old bones on over here, and I'll dig up your daughter. You know, that's school policy.
Oh?
Was this your mother?
No, my wife's mother.
Ed Rooney's office.
Hi, this is Ferris Bueller. Can I speak to Mr. Rooney, please? Thank you.
Hold.
Tell you what, dipshit. You don't like my policies, you can just come on down here and smooch my big old white butt.
Ed!
Pucker up, Buttercup.
What?
Ferris Bueller's online, too.
Oh, God. Such a great... Again, he thinks that Ferris is calling when it's actually Cameron, Ferris's friend, who's making the phone call. Oh, it's spectacular.
Hey,
Just
Mr. Rooney,
spectacular.
how you doing? Listen,
and
I'm
now
sorry
he's
to
panicked.
disturb
Okay,
you at work,
we've
but
done
I'm not feeling very well today,
it.
and I was wondering if it might be
just
possible
sort of
for my
becomes a
sister to bring
romp
home any assignments for my classes.
Like, that's what
that
makes
I
this
might
film
need.
so wonderful.
Yeah.
Have a
Is
nice
that,
day.
like...
I love the films where everything's done in like one day.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about those.
Yeah.
All those, but
There is a term. Well, there's a term for films like Rat Race, like films like that, where they're all trying to work for something, and like. But I don't know what the term is for like everything encapsulated in one day. The scenes. So famously, this comes up in trivia a lot. This film returned "Twist and Shout" by the Beatles to the charts. It was the number 23 song in America. After the famous scene where they're dancing at the Polish fest, is that what it was? A Polish or a German festival? German festival.
Yes, German festival.
They end up dancing
Yeah.
and
he's just
Twist
on
and
the
Shout.
float, and
They start singing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And the idea is like Ed Rooney keeps coming close to like, again in that first scene, he's seconds away from seeing that Ferris. He's just trying to prove that Ferris skipped school that day and he can't do it. And that's
that was the scene where he thought it was Ferris. It was a woman with a short hair.
Oh yeah, 100%,
100%.
At the
I've got
market
your
or whatever.
ass. Is
Yeah,
what he
right.
said.
Yeah.
So she turned around and spits on him. and
At the
that's why
same
it's
time,
bleeding
his
face.
sister's trying to get him in trouble. Like, but then
She comes right around at the very
well, you
end.
gotta,
Yeah.
like, let's not give everything
not give
away,
everything
right? Like, it's just wonderful. Now, that being said, I feel a way about it. It means a lot to me. How did
I
you?
very much enjoyed it. I think in terms of these movies, in terms of the movies that we've watched here, I think I'm going to rank it. Man, Forgetting Sarah Marshall was pretty good, too. Oh, man. I think I want Wedding Crashers and Tommy Boy are still my top two.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Of our
I'm okay
list.
with that. I would have Tommy Boy definitively ahead. I think I would have Ferris Bueller ahead of Wedding Crashers.
Interesting.
Like, Ferris Bueller is
It is.
perfection.
It is very good.
Perfection.
Man, I think I'm gonna put Wedding Crashers ahead of Ferris Bueller.
All right.
And then I think man, I don't know between Forgetting Sarah Marshall and this. It's been almost 1 year. That was so Forgetting Sarah Marshall was June 20th.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's
It has
almost,
been a long time. Well, it was supposed to be a summer thing. That was
Yeah,
part of it.
yes.
We were supposed to be doing these in the summer.
What do I wanna rank this? I gave Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Let's see what I gave Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think I'm gonna rank Forgetting Sarah Marshall slightly ahead we're pretty much even because I'm leaning right about it. Your 10-point scale. I'm leaning right around an 8 for Ferris Bueller.
Okay.
Maybe an 8.5.
Okay.
And that was right where I had Forgetting Sarah Marshall as well, around
All
the
right.
8.5 area.
We'll post this up at the website somehow
Yes.
later today. We'll
Okay.
create it to go back and look over some of the films that you've seen. The real story of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, as great as Matthew Broderick, the acting is, it's John Hughes. John Hughes wrote, directed, and produced Ferris Bueller's Day Off. John Hughes, in the 1980s, had a hit streak that would make Joe DiMaggio blush. Like, John Hughes did Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation. He did all of the it's funny because I know they're doing the Brat Pack thing on Hulu right now. He did the whole Brat Pack series, The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. He did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is just an effing phenomenal film. He had Home Alone. Perhaps you've heard of Home Alone. Was a John Hughes production, Uncle Buck. And one more that I'm going to have you I'm going to put on your list next. It'll be the next one on the list. Started to die off after that. Like I just don't know what happened that John Hughes just couldn't extend the hit streak into the 1990s and into the 2000s, but that run for John Hughes in the 1980s was unparalleled. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off stands out significantly among it. So it gives me great joy that you enjoyed it the way that you did, because it is a phenomenal film. That being said, next on your list, because it's summertime, I was reminded that yesterday was the I wish it was 26th. It's not. The 36th anniversary of the release of the Dan Aykroyd, John Candy buddy picture, The Great Outdoors, which is a quintessential summer film.
I think I have seen this.
Have you seen The Great Outdoors?
Younger, though.
Okay.
So,
You might have to rewatch it then.
Yeah.
This was another John Hughes. I think he just wrote this one. I don't think he directed it. It's awesome. It's just a perfect summer film, and yet I found out it had a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So I hate them. So although the audience score is significantly higher, because of course it was, because it's a great film. So I think I want that to be next on your list.
Okay.
Is The Great Outdoors. It's a great summer film. All right, and we'll do something on the website.
Okay.
Well done. Thank you for taking the
you.
assignment. All right, we get back to baseball. Orioles, Yankees get underway tonight. Let's talk a little bit more about the New York Yankees. Joining us now, he covers baseball for ESPN, but with a focus, of course, that's a big market, a big team. On the New York Yankees, we welcome back into the program Jorge Castillo, who is with us now here on GCR. Hang on, I want to make sure. It is Jorge and not George, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Jorge, I'm sorry. I just had this moment. My buddy George Sedano is George, and I'm like, oh, God. Oh, am I a jerk? Am I the worst person alive? I thought it was Jorge. Jorge, thank you for taking the time for us. I want to phrase this to you in the way that I've been talking about it on the show today. This is a really exciting series. This is a lot of fun. Great for baseball, the whole thing. But how important really is a series between these two teams between June 18th and June 20th?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to sort of think that way, that it's June, there's a lot of time for all this to sort of shape up, and whatever the standings may be at the end of the day. And obviously if this were in September, it'd be a little different, right? It'd feel different, but these games count just as much as those games in September, right? You can, the Yankees sweep, for example, that's 3 games. Those 3 games matter. If it's the other way around, the Orioles are in first place, right? Those games matter going head to head. And I think the Yankees, the fact that Garrett Cole's starting the second game of the series, I think tells you everything you need to know about how the Yankees feel about this series, right? They didn't need to bring Garrett Cole back for this, but they are, because I think they realize how important these games are. And these guys don't play as much as they used to, right? With the more balanced schedule, it's 13 games pretty much across the board. I don't know the exact number this year, but I'm assuming it's 13 games between these two clubs. And these games matter. It's such a tight race. The Yankees have like the best record in baseball and also the smallest lead, division lead in baseball. So it's an exciting series. The one at the end of April, beginning of May was exciting in Baltimore. And just the way the Yankees are going right now and the Orioles are going, it's an exciting series, and I think it matters.
You just alluded to something. Is it possible that the series actually is more important for the Yankees than it is for the Orioles, just based on, it's a series at home, their pitchers in comparison to who the Orioles are pitching this week, and the fact that the Orioles did win 3 out of 4 in that first series, that head-to-head thing, if the Orioles lose 2 out of 3 in this series, no big deal. They still have the advantage on the year. But, like, if it were to go the other way, the Yankees would be in a lot of trouble in that head-to-head tiebreaker.
Yeah, you could easily make that argument. I think it matters for both teams because if the Yankees do come out of this, with a sweep or just winning the series, it's a little ground that they have there, a little cushion, and this is a very different Yankee team, I think.
Yeah.
That the Orioles will face this time around than in Baltimore. Aaron Judge is on another level. He was hitting under 200 when the Yankees faced the Orioles the first time around, and they didn't have Garrett Cole. So I think it's sort of a different team. The Orioles have been awesome this year, right? It's a shame that both these teams are in the same division because there are a few divisions out there where the Orioles are easily in first place. So I think it's fun. I think it should be a good time. I don't know if it matters more for one team than the other. I guess because the Yankees did lose that first series, head-to-head could matter, when in the standings at the end. But I think for both teams, it's a big series.
All right. Jorge, you mentioned, obviously, the biggest difference probably for the Yankees between this series and the last series. Yes, Garrett Cole's significant. We'll get to that. But offensively, at that point, Aaron Judge was mired. Is this just, hey, this is baseball? Like, at some point when Aaron Judge turns it on, he's Aaron Judge, and that's just the way it is, and maybe it's good news that the Orioles took advantage of that opportunity they had when Aaron Judge was struggling.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it is just baseball. The best players in the world go through slumps. His just happened to go, be the first month of the season, which is like magnified, obviously, because those are the only numbers you see. But it's not just baseball for Aaron Judge to do what he's been doing the last 6 weeks. The guy's like by far the best hitter in the world right now, and it's not even close. He's lapping the field, and he's the American League MVP favorite. Gunnar Henderson's up there, Bobby Witt Jr., his teammate Juan Soto's up there. But what Aaron Judge has done since like May 3rd or 4th or whatever, it's been just crazy. It's up there with what he did with that 62 home run season a couple years ago in 22. So he's on another level. But yeah, we all saw that number. He's hitting under 200. He's OPSing around 700. He's striking out a lot in that first month. And, guys go through, 3, 4, or 5 week slumps during a season, superstars. It's just, you don't see those numbers necessarily, right? Because it's all baked in. But we saw it for the first month, and everyone up here in New York was wondering what was up. And he quickly set everyone up, basically, just the way he's been going the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's utterly insane. The news this week, Anthony Rizzo goes to the injured list, I guess twofold. Anthony Rizzo has not had a very good season, so when I ask how much does it hurt the Yankees, I acknowledge the answer might not be very much. And what are they getting in Ben Rice?
Yeah, I think that's the answer. I don't think it's very much. I think with Ben Rice, they're not sure what they're getting, but that's kind of the fun of it, right? You see if Ben Rice, who's I believe 25 years old, if he is indeed the guy, I know that's been reported. If he can hit at the major league level, and if he can, well, you got a guy who can play catcher and first base, a weapon here for the future, and it's kind of like a tryout for him. Obviously guys come up from AAA all the time. You got to start with Jackson Holiday, right? Things don't click right away, but the experience alone is great for him. So I think what the Yankees are going to do really is put DJ LeMahieu at first base, have Oswaldo Cabrera play third, and if Ben Rice is the guy, mix him in at first base. But in Ben Rice, have a guy who's had a really breakout year this year, started off in AA, has been tearing it up in AAA the last 2 weeks. And, the Yankees have a chance to see if this guy can hit the major league level this season. And if he can, maybe down the stretch, he's a guy that they have, with the big league team.
He is Jorge Castillo from ESPN. He is with us here on GCR previewing Orioles-Yankees this week. Jorge, to the pitching side of things, obviously, as you alluded to, the big story is tomorrow and Garrett Cole's return. Is there a limit to how far they'll push Garrett Cole in his first start back? Is everything's good, all things firing, and this is Garrett Cole? Is there anything that, you're watching for in particular about Garrett Cole's first start back?
Yeah, it's not sort of no limit. It's not like full throttle Garrett Cole. He has not thrown, I believe, 60 pitches in any of his rehab starts. He had 3 rehab starts, 2 in AA, 1 in AAA. It's not going to be like, full throttle for him. I think that, there will be a pitch limit. They want to ease him in as much as possible as you can against a team like the Baltimore Orioles in June. But, he's not going to be like, 100 pitches and whatever. But he looked sharp in his 3 rehab starts. On Friday in AAA, struck out 10 guys without a walk in 4 1/3 inning. His velo's been there, mid-90s, throwing all his pitches. But it's easy to look good against the Rochester Red Wings compared to the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see how this looks like, on Wednesday. Garrett Cole is, you could argue, the best pitcher in the world, when he's right. Last year, American League Cy Young Award winner. And the Yankees' strength this season, primary strength, has been their starting rotation. His replacement, Luis Hill, you can argue, he's up there for the AL Cy Young Award. Yeah. He's the front runner for the Rookie of the Year. He's going to be on the All-Star team if he stays healthy and, finishes this out for the next, few weeks. They have guys in that starting rotation, and Garrett Cole only helps. They will ease him in. They don't need him to be the guy. Like last year, they needed him to, go 7, 8 innings every time out because they just needed wins, right? They weren't that good last year. This time around, they're off to a great start. They have other guys in their rotation that can pick up the slack and pitch deep into games. What they need, Garrett Cole, is, to go out there, pitch well, and just be healthy for October. That's the key for the Yankees right now. Be healthy for October, and we'll see. I'm super interested to see how he looks tomorrow, against a team like, in a lineup of Baltimore's caliber.
You mentioned Mr. God Bless Me himself, Luis Hill. What, where, how, what? Like, we all see the numbers. How did this happen, and what has made him so unbelievably lethal this season?
Yeah, so I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday. The big change, obviously, he didn't pitch last year. He had Tommy John, coming off Tommy John, and he's always had the electric fastball. Command has always been an issue. The big change, he was a 2-pitch pitcher, really, fastball slider. This, in spring training, actually, when he got sent down, so the Yankees sent him down in mid-March. He wasn't going to make the rotation, obviously. So when he gets sent down, he starts tinkering more and throwing his changeup more in bullpens and whatever. And he's throwing, get some confidence in that pitch. And the Yankees call him up for a spot, for a start with the big league team against the Phillies in spring training. And he's using that pitch a ton, and he's facing like kind of their A lineup. And he was dominant that start. And that start really changed how we thought about things. He thought, I actually have a third pitch here. He gains a ton of confidence facing that lineup and that Phillies lineup. Even though it was spring training, that was really a difference maker. That really changed things for Luis Hill. And then obviously Garrett Cole goes down. He's all of a sudden in the rotation. That first month he dealt with some command issues, but since then he's been, the start of May on. I mean, that start in Baltimore was really the start of it. He's just been super dominant and it's really been that changeup, and that changeup has created some confidence. He's always had great stuff. The extension is elite. The spin rate is, above average. He has all like sort of the stuff that you look for in the metrics and all of the, all that stuff that teams look for. But it's been, confidence and a third pitch in that changeup.
Yeah, and God bless it, right? Because the Yankees could really use it, man. Like, you just feel really good for a team that's had so much hard luck. They are able to discover another superstar. Just great news for us. Jorge, if I could, before I let you go, for a little bit, in the last couple of weeks, we had the sense that, like, the Yankees might never lose, like that they just might be some absurd super team. Take me through what, in the Dodgers and the Red Sox series, in what ways they did start to show a little bit, I know it's a little bit, but a little bit of vulnerability. Where do the Yankees still have room to be better? What might they be looking to do before we get to July 30th?
Yeah, so starting with that Dodgers series, and it became quickly, it became very apparent, like, in your face. And, I had thought this before, but it is a very top-heavy lineup. Juan Soto did not play in that series against the Dodgers. And when you take Juan Soto out of that lineup, your Judge, Anthony Volpe, who's having a good year, Verdugo's solid, Stanton, if he runs into one, is going to hit it a million feet. But after that, it drops off a bit. And, this is a very top-heavy lineup, just like the Dodgers lineup is. So I think, maybe they go out and maybe Ben Rice is a guy that all of a sudden just starts hitting here. I don't know, whatever. But they need to figure out a way to lengthen that lineup somehow. Yeah. DJ LeMahieu has not looked very good since he made a season debut last month. They're not getting much production. Behind the plate, Jose Trevino's been good, but he's not playing every day. Austin Wells, the other catcher, has not played well. Gleyber Torres is having a bad year. So they need to figure out a way to lengthen that lineup and be deeper for October. The bullpen, it's been a little leaky lately. They always have Clay Holmes, but they're missing sort of a guy who can go out there in the back end and just strike guys out. They're missing a guy who misses bats. I think that's another area of improvement for them possibly. I think those are the two things for the Yankees. I think those are the two main things we saw in those series. And obviously the other thing we saw Sunday night was Jose Trevino just getting run on constantly by the Red Sox. 9 steals. It's his pop time is one of the worst in baseball. That's something they need to figure out because teams saw that and everything's copycat, right? The teams see that the Red Sox do that. So teams that have some speed are going to try to do that. Not everybody can run like the Red Sox. The Red Sox, one of the elite, sort of teams of speed. But it's a recipe that other teams will try to replicate against Trevino. It's something that they have to figure out. So I think those are the three main things we learned in those two series. Not having Juan Soto against the Dodgers. That to me was like a little. It wasn't necessarily a fair way to sort of assess the Yankees, but Juan Soto still dealing with that. It's a lingering thing. It's not going to go away. That forearm injury. It's something he has to deal with this season. So if he does have to deal with that, if there are times we have to maybe take some time off, you need to lengthen this lineup. This lineup needs to be deeper. It can't just be Aaron Judge and Anthony Volpe and, maybe Verdugo, maybe Stanton. They need to go out and maybe get another bat.
I get what you're saying. Look, the Orioles are really good, but we think they could use some more pitching, right? And that's despite the fact that they've had enough pitching to get through. I totally understand the conversation. All right, Jorge, it's at Jorge Castillo on Twitter, obviously, is where folks can find you. And, of course, ESPN.com as well. Is there anything else that we can plug for you, man?
No, that's it, man. Yes, I'll be here at Yankee Stadium this week. I'm excited to see the series. It should be a lot of fun. Just like in Baltimore, I was there. It was a good time, man. It's fun to see two elite teams going at it, two divisional rivals. It's cool to see the Orioles back in the mix. So it should be fun this week in the Bronx.
Make sure you're giving them a follow throughout the course of this week and moving forward this baseball season. Jorge, always appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time for us today. We really enjoyed it.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Jorge Castillo from ESPN with us here on GCR, getting us ready for Orioles-Yankees getting underway tonight in the Bronx. Just a couple of Orioles-related notes from yesterday that we didn't touch on. So they did claim it was this Nick Avila off of waivers, who heads to AAA. I'm not going to pretend like I think that there's – but I mean, we do this every time, right? Like this is I dismiss Julio Teheran, and then I remember, hey, we dismissed the last guy. We dismissed Albert Suarez. We dismissed – sure, go ahead and claim Nick Avila, who made 8 appearances with the Giants this year and pitched you an 8.49 ERA. And a 1.71 whip. Yes, those numbers terrible. But, I'm trying to pull it up now. Was there one particularly bad? No, he allowed runs basically every appearance. He had 1 scoreless appearance this season. One scoreless appearance.
If he can get a few of those.
Yeah, that would go well.
Only those.
Yeah, that would be a good thing. Sure, you need more arms. Who knows? Jacob Webb last year was not somebody that we had any expectations for, right? And I'm not trying to suggest that Jacob Webb has proven to be
And his numbers were a lot better though.
I hear you. I don't think that there's much to say about Nick Avila being claimed, but we have said that before, and someone has proven to be helpful, so I don't want to overreact to it either. Also, Major League Baseball released updated All-Star balloting yesterday with Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman leading at their respective positions, making Kansas City Royals fans furious because it's Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez that are second in both spots. Ryan Mountcastle second among first basemen.
He's very close, too.
Behind just Vlad Guerrero. I guess I looked at the list and I was like, wow, there really aren't good first basemen in the American League. That is interesting. Like it's those two, then it's Josh Naylor, Anthony Rizzo, who stinks, Nathaniel Lowe, Vinny Pasquantino, who's been really good. I actually kind of surprised that Vinny Pasquantino is kind of low. Jorge Mateo fourth among second base. Remember that it's different now because they do a vote off with the
top 2. You
have to get one of the top 2 guys, and then you get into a vote off. So Jorge Mateo right now is he's significantly behind.
Cole Kaiser's 7th. Wow.
Yeah, he's in the conversation. So anyway, would you stop that? Second baseman, it's Altuve and Simeon, and then Michael Massey of the Royals, and then Jorge Mateo fourth. Jordan Westburg second among third basemen, now significantly behind Jose Ramirez, and there would be no argument that Jordan Westburg should be starting the All-Star game ahead of Jose Ramirez. But
pretty good.
It could happen. That's what baseball wants, is a shootout. And then, as I mentioned, Gunnar leading among shortstops, and Ryan O'Hearn fourth among DHs. Yordan Alvarez, Giancarlo Stanton, the top two. Then David Fry is third of the Guardians. In the outfield, as
Polar is top 8. That's funny.
That's weird. I think that speaks to there just not really being DHs either. To the outfield, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker, Stephen Kwan, the top 4. In the outfield, they'll send the top 6 vote-getters into this shootout. And right now, Anthony Santander is 5th. Alex Verdugo 6th. Then Colton Cowser, the first outside the group, so he could still get into this shootout. He's only 15,000 votes behind Alex Verdugo. In that, Cedric Mullins somehow is still 11th.
Got to vote Cedric, Tony, and Cowser.
That is
wild.
Three. Apparently, the Martin Maldonado push is not paying off. He is not in the top 10 vote getters at catcher in the American League.
Sad.
So that's where we're at for All-Star voting. As a few Orioles in line at the moment. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit and Tubular to wind things down. Don't forget, by tomorrow, I promise, this new print issue that you've been hearing Griffin talk about, what a liar and a jerk, it will be at all of your neighborhood Royal Farms, the hundreds of locations around town where you find it, and you'll be able to read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. A little bit of a delay, but by tomorrow, the new print issue of PressBox with Governor Wes Moore on the cover will be available and free all those locations around town. Tidbit Tuba to wrap it up next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The days are getting hotter, and so are your Baltimore Orioles. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and you can join me and Ryan Blake on the Bat-Around every Saturday at 10 a.m. as the Orioles march towards another postseason berth. With a Cy Young candidate in the rotation and multiple MVP candidates in the lineup, this might be the most well-equipped Orioles team to end a decades-long World Series drought. From the Midsummer Classic to the trade deadline and beyond, Ryan and I will be with you through the dog days of summer and into those crisp fall nights. So tune into the Bat-Around every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. right here with Pressbox.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we wind down for a Tuesday edition of the program. I think we've covered everything that we've needed to cover, so let's go ahead and get a tidbit.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, so what you got for us, tidbit of the day?
All right, so obviously the Celtics did, of course, win the NBA Finals yesterday in 5 games, making pretty easy work of the Mavericks. And let's see which one I want to start with here.
If it praises the Celtics, I am not interested.
We gotta get them out of the way. This is the only day. I'll do it.
Wasn't gonna do it today.
10th double-digit victory in the postseason, second most in a single playoff run in Celtics history too. They've had one bigger where they've had more double-digit wins.
Okay.
Jason Tatum, he became the 5th player in NBA history.
Points, rebounds, and assists.
Points, not just rebounds. To have 30 points and 10 assists in an NBA Finals clincher.
Oh, okay.
An NBA Finals clinching win. He's only the 5th player to have 30 and 10 assists. You think you can name the other 4?
I saw that he was like the whatever player to lead his team, lead a championship team in scoring, rebounds, and assists, I think. All right, 30 points, 10 assists. Steph.
Yes. Steph Curry, well done. Most recent to do it in 2017. 30 points and 10 assists in the NBA Finals clincher.
30 points, 10 assists. 30 points, 10 assists in an NBA Finals clincher. Magic.
No Magic.
That's a little surprising. How about Kawhi?
No Kawhi. Steph was the most recent. Steph was the only other one to do it post-2000.
Post-2000.
Yeah,
well, that's significantly different. Yes.
3 other guys all before 2000.
So, Michael Jordan.
Yes, Michael Jordan in 1991.
How about Larry Bird?
No Larry Bird.
How about Isaiah Thomas?
Not Isaiah Thomas.
Yikes.
Guy on the list who was a teammate of Magic Johnson in the finals.
Worthy?
James Worthy.
That's very
in
surprising.
1988 had 30 points and 10 assists in the 88 series finals clincher.
How about yikes? How about Bob Cousy?
Not Bob Cousy.
How about, how far back am I going?
The first player to do this, he did it in 1970 to score 30 and 10 assists in the finals clincher.
1970. I don't even remember who won it. That wasn't the Celtics?
It was not the Celtics. The Lakers lost to
the Knicks.
They lost to the Knicks.
Earl the Pearl?
Not Earl the Pearl.
Walt Frazier.
Walt Frazier, correct. Walt Frazier. And I guess that can be it. That was a good.
All right.
Works for me.
Very
Well
good.
done.
Very good. Then how about we go ahead and get tubular then?
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
John in Little Rock tells me he's always had a fascination for and rooted for the Celtics since they drafted Len Bias. The mayor, by the way, is a huge Celtics fan, dating back to Reggie Lewis. That one makes a little bit more sense to me because, like, Reggie played for the Celtics, and it was all coming to fruition, unfortunately, before Reggie tragically passed. Like, these are the worst people alive that are happy today. Like, no. Tom
Brady tweeted,
Worst
Boston gets another.
Yeah, great. Good, yeah. He's from San Francisco. Masson, Orioles, Yankees tonight. Albert Suarez and Nestor Cortez, the pitching matchup.
He lived there for like 20-plus years.
Great. That's the pitching matchup tonight as the Orioles open up that 3-game series in New York.
Brady.
The Panthers will try again to close out the Stanley Cup final and end final season tonight.
They do.
Game 5. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you putting some money on that?
I don't know.
They just gave up 8 goals the other day.
Yeah, well, the Celtics just lost by 50 the other
That's
night.
a fact. Oilers-Panthers Game 5 tonight, just after 8 o'clock on ABC. The Olympic team trials for swimming continue tonight at 8 on NBC. Starts at 6 on USA. Hello. I don't know what's going on there. The Euro, only one TV game today. What is going on where they're like not televising?
Like 2 games total today too.
And they're not like there's been a thing with that where like I think they're trying to get people to like buy Fubo or something like that in order to watch the other games. But Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo take on Czechia.
That's on TV.
That's on TV this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Do you have Czechia?
No, I don't have Czechia. Czechia.
Who's
It's
involved?
not you, is it?
Is it? It might be me.
Yeah, it is.
It is me. Let's go,
Go
Chechens. Go you Czechs. Go.
Portugal. John Proctor is Portugal.
Oh, that
Big
son
matchup
of a
between
bitch.
Glenn and
That
John
son of a
Proctor.
bitch. He could move into a tie. At top of the table if Portugal wins. What's the other match today? What's the first one?
Just kicked.
Hang on. Yeah, well, you'd be wrong because they don't do that in soccer.
Turkey and Georgia. We were talking.
That's
about
right.
that. Yeah.
Turkey and Georgia.
0-0 through 17 minutes.
That's the other big one today. That's John and Little Rock taking on who's got Georgia? Who's got the Bulldogs? That is Ryan Chell. John and Little Rock against Ryan Chell. Ooh, Ryan Chell with just 1 point. John and Little Rock. So 2 teams at the bottom of the table going for points right now in our Euro competition. Also coming up, baseball-wise today, Masson 2.
Ryan's got points. We didn't have to.
He's got one.
We didn't have Francis win.
Way to go, jerk. Way to go. Yeah, never mind. Take it all back.
Wait, France did win.
They won.
Okay.
They won.
Right,
they won 1-0, right?
That's right. Belgium lost.
Yes, Belgium lost. Yeah. France won. Yeah, fix that. Masson 2, Diamondbacks Nationals 6:45, ESPN Plus, Royals Athletics 9:40, Brewers Angels at 9:30 on MLB Network. You know, this week is the week that they're doing the sort of the Negro League celebration down at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. The MLB game, the in place of the Field of Dreams game, will be on Thursday night, but tonight they're doing a minor league game there. Montgomery Biscuits and the Birmingham Barons, 7 o'clock on MLB Network. College World Series on ESPN, Florida State, North Carolina at 2. That is the winner's bracket game.
They're actually both elimination games.
They're both elimination games today. You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Florida State lost to.
All right.
Hold on. Wait, no, yeah.
I thought.
They were in an elimination game Sunday, so they're still in elimination games. Florida State lost.
Okay, I believe you. Florida State, North Carolina 2, Florida, Kentucky at 7.
That was a 12-11 game Friday.
CBS Sports Network, New York Liberty, Phoenix Mercury at 10. The USA Network for WWE, NXT at 8. Non-sports.
New episode of The Acolyte on Disney Plus, the Star Wars show. A new episode of Clipped, our favorite, on Hulu.
It's terrible. Just awful.
And then on Paramount Plus, they got a docu-series. It's called Chopper Cops, and it's about cops that like fly helicopters during like police chases and stuff. Looks kind of cool.
Sure.
Chopper Cops.
Sure.
And then Kevin Costner will be on Fallon because he'll be plugging Horizon and American Saga. He's got 2 of those coming out actually this summer.
I think I've seen some promotion for that.
Yeah,
I think
it
I'm
looks
familiar with
good.
it. Okay. All right.
Sam Worthington. Somebody else was in it.
Oh.
I think Josh Brolin, I want to say. Norman Reedus will be on Kimmel.
How old is Norman Reedus now? Is he 100?
No.
No.
He looks good.
Norman Reedus does look good.
He's in Bike Riders. This is
is he?
This
He's
is
in
Austin Butler and Tom Hardy, and it looks kind of looks kind of good. Bike Riders.
You're really putting over Bike Riders. You're big on that. Norman Reedus is 55, by the way.
Not bad.
No, I mean, you're right. He does look. He actually looks great. I've always thought that he looked like Jack White, by the way. I always thought that, like, on the right day, you could line up Jack White and Norman Reedus next to each other, and you'd see something. If he's clean shaven, that is.
Yeah. I guess so.
All right, shut up. Just move on. Just
That's it.
move
That is
on.
it.
All right, that's it. Very good. All right. Thanks to Jorge Castillo. Thanks also to Steve Johnson and to Gabe Lacques. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow,
Stuff and things, I think.
is Drew coming in? Because he's doing a show on 105 tomorrow, but I think he's doing
he
it.
is?
I think he's doing the noon show, so I
okay.
don't know if he wants to come in at the 10 o'clock hour.
I message him, then we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll see
Like he
how
definitely
long he
couldn't
wants to
come
be here.
in for the second hour of the
Right.
show tomorrow, but maybe he can come in the 10 a.m. hour. I'll be on. I got two between now and when we do our next show. I'll be on 105.7. I'll do two shows before then. Tonight we're on 7 to 9.
Wow.
Reed and I, and then tomorrow morning 6 to 9. So lot of me. Tomorrow, of course, being Juneteenth, like I don't know if we were supposed to take the day off here and we just sort of forgot. It's a Wednesday, so like it's not like you're not inclined to take. This is it's the same way. Wednesday is the worst day of the week for any holiday.
Yeah.
Like it just ruins it. 4th of July this year is on a Thursday. We'll take Friday off. That's the way it's going to go. I'm not coming back in and doing a show on Friday. But like taking a Wednesday off, what does it do for you? You're like, what are you doing? What am I doing with that? So that's the way it'll go. All right, thanks everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors, and do we have anything for tomorrow besides? No.
Stuff and things.
Great.
Right now.
Boy. Thanks everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners: Live Casino and Hotel. Visit Hagerstown in Washington County. Cruise, Maryland, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, the Ed Block Courage Awards, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costa Sin, MSAA, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, BuyAToyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.